You're listening to Game Day Exclusive live on Talksport. We're building up to our 12:30 game. Only 8 minutes to go until Aston Villa kick off against Newcastle. And I tell you what, the Villa fans have been raising the proverbial roof here. The atmosphere is always electric here at Villa Park. But of course, what the fans have been producing today is a huge tribute to probably their most famous fan, which was Ozzy Osbourne, who of course passed away last month. While we were at the break, there's been a video tribute to Ozzy Osbourne, a floodlight show, and Hi-Ho Silver Lining, or Hi-Ho Aston Villa, which you can hear in the background ringing out here as well. When the players walk out by the Holt End, there'll be a Tifo lift, a live track of Ozzy's Crazy Train taken from the Back to the Beginning concert. That will be played as well, and as the usual, the pyrotechnics are out here at Villa Park as well. They are ready for the brand new season. We've talked about it earlier in the show. Are they ready in terms of the squad? It does look fairly light, doesn't it? And that is usually actually because of UEFA's squad cost ruling, which means that wage bills here at Villa Park need to be below 70% of revenue, and of course PSR as well. Aston Villa has sold their women's team to try and help with balancing the books, but it's going to be a difficult season potentially in terms of that for Aston Villa. But look, it's the third season in Europe. The positive is that whilst it's not Champions League football, it's still progression to be able to keep a place in Europe and to lose out in the manner that they did on the last day of the season. Champions League, the Europa League, do they see that as a setback, or given that they've got the absolute master at winning this competition, who's Unai Emery at the helm, is that actually the positive, that there's a real chance of Aston Villa picking up major European silverware this season if they can get to that final?
The only reason it's a negative is because of the PSR rules. Keep going on about it. What you gain financially from qualifying for the Champions League, Aston Villa could have done with to go again in the transfer market. But the positives from going into Europa League is you've got a manager who knows how to win it. Yeah. Won it with Sevilla, won it with Villarreal. We know Unai Emery knows how to take this.
Speaking of the manager, no limits to our dreams.
Exactly.
A huge circular tifo.
He will see as well now. He will see as well now that the teams don't drop down from the Champions League into Europa League. So Villa have got every chance, and I'm sure he'll be taking the competition more seriously than any other team.
Yep, it is absolutely huge for Aston Villa here at Villa Park. Players are heading out. That huge tifo of Unai Emery, he is the man that their hopes are pinned upon. What a game we have in store. I'm going to hand you over to our commentary team now to walk you through it. Gabby Agbonlahor's here, Stuart Pearce is here, but first, Dan Maspos.
Thank you, Reshmin. Yes, welcome everyone to Villa Park, where the fire cannons are still shooting their flames into the sky. It's grey, it's overcast, it's a little bit chillier than it has been across the country over the last few days. But the Premier League is about to hot up again. New season, new faces, new narratives, new kits, new balls. But both Aston Villa and Newcastle United are still hoping to disrupt the old boys' stranglehold on the Premier League's top four. Both frustrated by financial restrictions, both victims of reaching the European top table and then unable to sustain their place within it. And both whose summer transfer window has been just a tad underwhelming. Villa have lost the lone players that didn't get them to the promised land of the Champions League in the end. And Newcastle are resigned to losing the superstar that did. But the Toon have something that Villa would love to furnish this fabulous old stadium with, a sparkling piece of silverware, and they want to build on that Carabao Cup win. Gabby Agbonlahor and Stuart Pearce are here. In reality, these two clubs had brilliant seasons last season, but who will the absentees or the departed affect more, Stuart?
Well, the biggest departure here at the moment is Isak, I think, and he could really affect Newcastle this year. His goals, you strip them out, a goal's worth a point in the Premier League, and that could be very, very telling.
No Asensio and Rashford, obviously, because those loans have ended, Gabby. So, who steps up for Villa?
I think today Rodgers and Watkins will step up, but I look at the bench, I look at Marlon, I look at Gaston, not Croissant. I look at the new signing Gaston, and he's got a lot to play in this season for Aston Villa, but the one I look at the most is Marlon. I think he will come on and make a difference today.
Well, Aston Villa don't have Emi Martinez because even though he wasn't expected to be an Aston Villa player, he's suspended today. Morgan Rogers' ankle issues have resolved themselves though. For Newcastle United, there's no Isaac, so Anthony Gordon goes through the middle. Nick Pope retains his place in goal despite the acquisition of Aaron Ramsdale. Our referee for the opening day of the season at Villa Park is Craig Pawson, who took charge of Newcastle's opening game last campaign, which they won. The VAR is Peter Banks, and Newcastle United wearing their change strip today of green shirts, white shorts and green socks. Aston Villa in traditional claret shirts, blue sleeves, blue socks and white shorts. The two teams then, Bizot is the goalkeeper for Aston Villa, Cash at right back, Konza, Mings and Digne, Kamara, Anana and Tielemans in midfield, Rodgers, Watkins and John McGinn, the captain, who was linked with a move away from Aston Villa earlier in the summer window in the attack. For Newcastle United, Nick Pope is their goalkeeper. The back four, Kieran Trippier playing at right back, Livramento at left back. Lewis Hall is available, he's on the bench today. He's come back from a foot injury which robbed him of the last 3 months of the campaign. Scher and Byrne at the heart of defence. Botman only managed a handful of appearances last season. He's on the bench, and so is new signing Malik Thiaw. It's the familiar midfield of Bruno Guimaraes, Tonali and Joel Linton. And up top, it's Elanga, Gordon and Harvey Barnes. Well, anyone who listened to the stirring and emotional scenes from Anfield last night will be aware that before we begin and before all the Premier League games this weekend, supporters will be asked to pause and pay tribute to Andre Silva and Premier League winner Diogo Jota, who tragically passed away this summer.
On the referee's whistle.
Newcastle are coming off the back of their most successful campaign in the modern era, in which they edged Aston Villa out of the Champions League places on goal difference. But Unai Emery's side picked up 40 points at Villa Park last season and lost just one home game, the fewest in the Premier League. Gabby Agbonlahor and Stuart Pearce are here. Most importantly, you are here, because Talksport is football, it's fun, it's fans. The Premier League season is already underway. Aston Villa in claret and blue, Newcastle United in green shirts and white shorts. Craig Pawson looks to the heavens, looks at his watch, blows his whistle, and the games begin. And a little bit like PSG in the Club World Cup, Tonali immediately kicks the ball long for touch down by the corner flag as they look to squeeze in and put pressure on Aston Villa right from the very off, Gary.
Yeah, I don't mind that tactic. It gets you on the front foot in the first few seconds of the game. Now puts pressure on Aston Villa. Matty Cash will throw in there. He's got to throw it down the line, and Newcastle can get everyone in the Aston Villa half.
Yeah, they're squeezed up over on that left-hand side. The throw-in comes and it's headed forward by Trippier. A strong forward header by Tyrone Mings. Aston Villa defending the Holt end. It's come to Livramento, and McGinn has put him under pressure physically over on the far side, and it will be a physical game. Both these two teams very good at that side of it, especially Newcastle, and the ball runs out over on the left-hand side.
Yeah, speculation that McGinn might leave this place. I'll tell you what, he's just showed us exactly what he does for this Villa team. Ratting around people, good on the ball, full of energy, and leads by example.
Well, I think the key development at the start of the game, Gabby, is that Morgan Rogers is playing on the left, where he's so much more effective, and McGinn's playing on the right.
Yeah, we spoke about it before the game, Sam. You know, McGinn can do a job on that right-hand side, but Morgan Rogers is so effective on that left-hand side, or as a number 10. So you'll see the best of Morgan Rogers today from the left.
Tielemans sends it long up towards halfway. It's headed forward by the 6'7" central defender Dan Burn. It came to Bruno Guimaraes, who's dyed his hair bright blonde this time around, but he kicks it straight out of play. It's out for a Villa throw on halfway, and Matty Cash throws it in, tosses it back to the heart of the defence, and Ezri Konsa just gets it under control. England defender rolls it back to the goalkeeper Bizot. First touch for him, a little bit heavy, and he's pressurised immediately by the false 9 Anthony Gordon, who's wearing a Jack Grealish style hairband to hold back his ever-growing blonde locks this season. And it goes out for a throw. 2 minutes played. Aston Villa 0, Newcastle United 0. Live on Talksport. Grey skies overhead, and Newcastle have the ball. Just 10 yards in front of their own penalty area. It's thrown down the line to Joel Linton. He tries to push it into Tonali's path, but they lose it. And now Tielemans got it on the edge of the area, looking for Watkins. Intervention comes from Cher, and he prods it clear. Now Tonali picks it up. Immediately, Gordon goes on the hunt. Elanga goes through the middle. There's a slip and a miss by Digne, and Elanga is escaping away. He's got Gordon to his left. He shoots for goal. It's saved by Bizot. Down to his right and pushed out to the wide left position. Back in by Barnes, who's tackled by Kamara. He then goes down under pressure from Kamara. Barnes. Referee says play on. Gordon's got it back, edge of the area, right footed shot deflected over the top, and it's out for a corner away to our right. It's a high octane start, and what a chance for Elanga after a mix-up between Digne and Mings.
Yeah, it certainly was. Both defenders for Villa come together. Both of them went to ground. Elanga found himself with probably too much time on the ball, and he should be scoring there. He really should. Goalkeeper predicted which way it was going, but that just shows what Elanga's going to bring to Newcastle, that pace and energy in behind.
Here is the corner then to be taken over on the far side. I don't know if there is a quick VAR check here for the Boubacar Kamara clash with Harvey Barnes, but that is now over, and there is going to be a corner kick from the near side. Remember that the referees have been instructed to look at holding more closely this season, so we might see a few penalties for that. So both Newcastle and Aston Villa should be aware. The ball's towards the back post. It's headed away from goal by Joel Linton. He was rising, but it was too heavy for him. Gordon's got it back, and they recycle it from the left side, and Bruno Guimaraes has just slipped as he's tried to send the ball from the left side of the Villa half towards the right. It goes down diagonally from left to right towards Cher. He rises, but he can't get hold of it. It's picked up by McGinn, and he clears it up towards this Aston Villa left, but Watkins is beaten to it by Trippier, and it's out and away for a throw on this near touchline. It's 0-0 on Talksport. Here's Stuart Pearce.
I don't know how costly that miss or save's going to be as the game goes on, but certainly I'm not sure we'll get a better opportunity to score a goal in this game than Elanga's just had.
As a former Premier League striker, Gabriel Bonahor, what did he get wrong, Anthony Elanga?
I think he didn't take it into the centre of the goal quick enough. He had so much time to get closer into the centre of the goal, and maybe he could have went near post, tried to go across the keeper, but great save. But this is a warning for Aston Villa. You know, Digne on that left-hand side does lack pace. Tyrone Mings has to cover him, because Elanga is probably one of the quickest players in the Premier League.
Aston Villa 0, Newcastle United 0. Live on Talksport on this Saturday lunchtime, 12:30 every Saturday. You know that the weekend starts with Talksport. If there's a Friday night game, we'll do that. If there's a Monday night game, we'll do that. It starts, it ends on Talksport. Here's Tielemans. McGinn gets in his way. Joel Linton pushed him in the back. McGinn picks up the pieces and feeds Watkins, who's beaten to it by Livramento, who tucks it behind, and it goes out and away for a corner kick over on the far side for Aston Villa, whose set-piece delivery last season was particularly impressive. 16 goals from set pieces. Only Arsenal, Forest and Palace scored more set-piece goals in the Premier League.
Well, I think when this game dropped as first game of the season, I thought to myself, there's two teams very evenly matched, and it looks as though both of them think they've got to win it to get in the European places, the way they've approached the game.
McGinn to take the corner, far side, in front of the north stand, away to our left. hits it left-footed, curls it, swirls it towards the far post, headed by Mings down to Watkins, who handballs it inadvertently after a tussle with Byrne in the right fullback position. It's hustled to halfway, then sent back by Cash. It was a poor ball by Matty Cash, went firing right the way up the other end of the pitch and goes out for a goal kick away to our left-hand side. Eddie Howe already on his feet and on the edge of the technical area. Unai Emery has taken up his familiar position just outside his technical area with his hands on his hip and looking a little... He's scowling towards the pitch. That's what he does, Unai Emery.
When you look at both teams, you know, man for man, they're very, very evenly matched. This tussle in midfield, the 3 against 3 in midfield here, not much to choose between them, and it's going to be the odd mistake, the odd through ball that's going to settle this game. Well,
the Opta data crunchers rate these two as the best outside of the top 4. But you wonder if that number country included Alexander Isak, who Eddie Howe says Newcastle, for now at least, have to forget about. Free kick to Newcastle, just left of the centre circle. A couple of steps back from the halfway line, and it will be Trippier to stand over it and deliver this ball into the Aston Villa half. Still goalless on Talksport, but Newcastle have had the best chance of the game through Anthony Elanga. Right-footed, launches the ball high into the box. Byrne trying to get underneath it. It almost came down to Barnes. It does come to Gordon, who swivels and hits. Took a little deflection, and Bizot went sprawling to his right to stop the ball from going out for a corner. And he holds on to it now, and he's only got 8 seconds to hold on to it before he has to clear away, although there is an issue here with one of his socks or his gloves or something. So the referee is going to stop proceedings. In fact, actually, it's Esri Konza who's got the issue. He's lost his left boot. He's now reattaching that, and it will be a drop ball uncontested, which will be given to Marco Bizot, the former Brest goalkeeper.
So I take it the laws are the game can only be stopped for head injuries and replacement of boots now,
yes,
is it, this season?
Yes, we do like a boots issue. Here is Tielemans in midfield after a tussle. Picked up by Rodgers in the number 10 position, tried to release Watkins very quickly, just didn't get the weight of the pass right, but the idea certainly was right.
I'll tell you what, it's the right idea, wrong execution, but once again Watkins has peeled off the back and gone in behind. Cher just held his ground. In fact, he stepped forward, probably took the wrong option in my eyes. If the ball was correct, Watkins is in.
That speed and that pace is going to be really important, is it? Because those two Newcastle centre-halves, for all of their good work that they do, they aren't the fastest.
100%, you know. Botman is a lot quicker than Shah and Dan Byrne. And we saw Elanga got through in the first few minutes. Aston Villa have to try and do that.
Here is Barnes trying to nudge the ball forward for Anthony Gordon to chase. Mings gets it back to his goalkeeper. Gordon keeps running, and they will do that. They press so well, Newcastle United. Byrne into the air, heads it forward ahead of Watkins. It comes back, but Tonali has won it, and Tonali then tries to power down the Newcastle right. He feeds Elanga. Elanga now trying to take on Digne. Plays it against Digne, and then it goes out to play over on the far side. I think goes out for a throw-in, actually, not for a corner, which I think Elanga was initially hoping for. And it's a Newcastle ball just short of the corner flag. 9.5 minutes gone on Talksport, goalless.
I think this game is hinged on which defence can handle the opposition's attack the best, actually. You know, the way things are going, both teams have had the odd opportunity so far, Elanga being the best.
Well, Villa made such a strong start to last season. They won 6 of their first 7 matches in all competitions. Newcastle similarly only dropped 2 points in the first 4 games, and both certainly want to engage in strong starts again. Cash with an over-strong challenge on Barnes over on the far touchline. It must have been about 6 or 7 yards inside opposition territory. And it's a free kick to Newcastle once again over on the far touchline. You're listening to Aston Villa 0, Newcastle 0 on Talksport with Sky Sports. And don't forget that with now you can stream all the Sky Sports action flexibly, like Wolves versus Manchester City live today. Search Now Sports. Here is Joel Linton trundling towards the edge of the Aston Villa box. He goes on the outside and finds Livramento by the byline. Back into Barnes. He's crossed into Gordon, and 6 yards out he steers the ball over the top with a header. It was a brilliant ball in by Barnes. He picked out Anthony Gordon, and if Alexander Isak was in that position, it would have been 1-0. He didn't get his header completely correct. It might have been just a bit behind him, but it was a great ball in.
Yeah, absolutely super ball there. And I know what you're going to say. If that was Isaac, maybe it would have been 1-0, but it's not.
I already said it, sadly.
I think out of the two teams, Newcastle will be pleased, certainly being the wayside with the start that they've had.
Oh, great touch by Rodgers to take it away from Cher. He gets towards the edge of the penalty area. Tonali stretched out an arm and looked like he pushed him in the back. The referee said play on, no foul. Rodgers has bounced back up and they've got the ball again, Villa, 10 yards short of the penalty area.
Yeah, I think they were very, very fortunate to get away with that. I certainly saw a shove from where we were and it was just in front of us.
Here is Konza. We're just outside the penalty area that Aston Villa are attacking, towards the north stand end of the ground, about 15 rows from the front, just at the front of what is, I suppose, effectively the second tier. The ball bounces on halfway. Good header by Barnes, and then it's won back by Digne, and all of a sudden Villa have possession right side with Matty Cash in the full-back position, up to John McGinn on the Aston Villa right, then into Boubacar Kamara. So important for them at the base of that midfield. Onana, who they got for £50 million last year from Everton, but didn't have the best of first season. Started really well, scored early on against West Ham, but only ended up with 4 all season, and maybe needs a little bit more from him this time around. He's certainly got the ability. Here is McGinn into Rodgers, halfway, pokes it forward into McGinn and gets in the way of Watkins. The two of them just not on the same wavelength, and it spills into the centre circle, and Newcastle look to bring it clear, and they do, with Barnes out wide to Livramento. He moves up towards the left angle of the penalty area on the offensive here for Newcastle, who get into the box with Barnes, and then he's ball forward. Oh, he's given it back by Kamara, and Barnes has got a chance to cross here. It's over the top. Elanga hits it through the 6-yard box. It's cleared away again by Konza this time. But Newcastle United have had 3 good chances to score now, and we've played 13 minutes. Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, they certainly have. Newcastle doing really well there, loading the box up with big numbers, and when it comes to Elanga at the far post, he's unloaded one, but I think Digne took some of the sting out the ball and out the direction, certainly, but both teams looking to exploit the space in behind, and it's just a case of getting the pass right at this moment in time.
I think as well, when I'm looking at McGinn tucking inside, Barnes and Livramento seem to be getting a lot of room on the left-hand side. But Aston Villa, Watkins, it looks like it's going to be a big battle for him, trying to cope with the height and the aggression of Dan Burn.
0-0. This is Talksport. And remember, this afternoon from 2:30, we're taking you around the grounds with Adrian Durham, the fastest goal service in the business. We've already had goals in the Championship in the 12:30 kickoff. We've got live commentary over on Talksport 2 of Wrexham against West Brom. There was a collision there, and Burn and Watkins involved. And Watkins gets the free kick just short of the halfway line. It's currently Derby County 1, Coventry City 1. Elder on the score sheet for Derby, equalising after Brandon Thomas Asante scored for Coventry City. Portsmouth 0, Norwich City 1. Darling on the score sheet after 6 minutes at Fratton Park. And in League One, no goals between Burton and Port Vale, Exeter and Mansfield. Here is McGinn right side for Aston Villa. Edge of the area, low cross into the box, which scooted past Burn and then had to be fended away by Cher because Watkins was incoming. Still not clear on the edge of the box. Burn went down. The ball is cleared to halfway. It is a physical, it is a committed encounter so far. Mings has just put the ball out inexplicably on this near side. Elanga has picked it up, played it into Gordon. Gordon's kept hold of it inside Villa territory. It's a fast action start to the game so far here at Villa Park. There's a collision between Digne and Elanga. That's going to be a free kick halfway inside Villa territory, one on this right-hand side. Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, Sam, I don't think I've seen a game, first game of the season, as electric as this. Both teams are at it. They're swinging from end to end. They're really on the front foot, both teams. And every time they get around the last third of the opposition, you feel as though something might happen.
You can see as well, can't you, Piercy, why Tyrone Mings is playing? I mean, that clearance he made there, he's got that extra speed rather than Pau Torres, who's not got the speed of Mings, especially with Digne at left back. He lacks that pace as well.
Well, a chance for a set piece on this near touchline for Newcastle United, who have had 3 chances already to score a goal in this opening quarter of an hour of the Premier League season at Villa Park. Right-footed deep delivery to the far post, looking for Guimaraes, who heads it back across the face of goal, chested down by Barnes, and then Gordon with a shot. It takes a deflection, and down to his right Bizot makes a really good save at the foot of the post to turn it round and out for a corner.
Yeah, Villa there just exposing the back post. It was kept alive, pulled back, and when it come to Gordon, he's hit it through bodies, and credit to the goalkeeper. He's done well getting down to his right and parrying it for a corner.
Yeah, he really did, because he saw that late. It came through a crowd of players and he managed to push that round the post and out for another corner to Newcastle United. 0-0. Here's the corner, right-footed from Tonali, right under the goalkeeper, who gets something on it and manages to nudge it out on this near side. There was a bit of pushing going on. That's going to be a free kick to Aston Villa. It remains goalless. Gabby.
I think as well you can see why Aston Villa conceded 51 goals last season, the most in the top 7, because they gift opportunity. They don't get out to the ball as quick enough. Look at Gordon there at the edge of the box. He should never get that much free time to get a shot off.
Well, two problems were apparent for Aston Villa last season. They missed out on the Champions League because of goal difference. That's how close they were to getting in the Champions League. But they have to sharpen up at both ends, Gabby, because as well as the 51 goals that they conceded last season, that's mid-table defended, no top half side scored fewer goals than Aston Villa. Here is Pope under pressure from Watkins, and he manages to play out successfully to Trippier, who gets it back to Cher, whose long arcing ball reaches the midway point of the Villa half. It doesn't reach Gordon though, and it's away by Konza. Kamara, now Onana halfway, congested on that halfway line, but Onana strides forward with purpose and moves out into an advanced left position, then checks back, gives it to Kamara, and then he looks up and tries to find another outlet. 17 and a half gone. Here is Konza again on the ball, engaged by Joel Linton. Back to Mings. Mings finds Digne. So good from crossing positions, Digne going forward, but does lack a little bit of pace and awareness when being run at by a winger. There was a late challenge by Tielemans on Cher as the ball was thrown forward into an advanced left position. It's going to be a free kick given by Craig Pawson, 5-6 yards outside the box.
Yeah, we just saw an instance there with Gordon being the front man, the focal point. He's good when he's peeling off and going in behind, but anything up to him, if it's a physical encounter, he's getting brushed aside slightly by Mings and Konza, which is understandable.
I was going to say, there's a slight difference in body build and height differential. It's like me going up against Alex Crook.
But it's like everything, and Gabby will tell you better, you have to find a way when you're getting physically dominated to either buy a free
100%.
kick, pull someone around, use your body wisely.
Well, Gordon didn't look great in the pre-season games when he was playing as the false 9, but hasn't started too badly in this match. 0-0, 19 minutes gone. You're listening to Talksport, and certainly scoring wasn't a problem for Newcastle last season when they had Alexander Isak in their front line. 68 goals, and Gordon putting pressure under Bizot there, who manages to kick it out towards his left-hand side under pressure, but because of that pressure they weren't very sure with their clearance, and it's back with Newcastle on the edge of the penalty area, and they're on the attack with Elanga down the right-hand side now, and the cross into the box hits Mings. No handball according to the referee, and it's cleared away. Oh, it's given straight by Rodgers to Bruno Guimaraes, edge of the area, taken on by Joel Linton. He plays it a little bit too wide for Barnes. Barnes being backed up by Livramento. Newcastle United have had all of the play inside Aston Villa's half in the opening 20 minutes of this game. Only 1 or 2 skirmishes for Villa at the other end. Newcastle have started the brighter. Here's Barnes down the left onto Livramento. His ball into the box, straight into the arms of Bizot, who's grateful to receive that inside the 6-yard area under no challenge, and he will clear away. And Newcastle will be pleased with the way they've started.
And this can be the problem when you have 4 centre midfielders playing on the pitch. Sometimes it's hard to get up and help Morgan Rodgers and Watkins.
Rodgers now trying to spring the offside trap, but he was looking for McGinn, who was beaten to the ball by the returning Nick Pope, and it's cleared away. Again, it's just a little bit loose in midfield, and it's Newcastle who put their foot on the ball, and it's taken out to the wide left position by Barnes again, and he's had a lot of the ball in the opening 20 minutes of the game. His shirt tucked in at the waist, the white shirts gleaming under the floodlights that are on, the white shorts, sorry, under the floodlights that are on here, despite the fact that it is not even 1 o'clock in the afternoon. It's because the sky is very grey at the moment, although I am told it's going to be a little bit more bright this afternoon, and it's going to heat up as well. Here is Byrne out to the far touchline, collected now by Barnes. Barnes moves down the left-hand side towards the edge of the penalty area, and then tries to power pass McGinn, can't get there. It goes behind and away and out to the right-hand side. We are running a story, by the way, on Talksport.com now about Eberechi Eze not being in the Crystal Palace squad for tomorrow's game against Chelsea because of interest from Tottenham. We will follow all of the games on Game Day Live tomorrow from 1:30. Alex Crook, myself, Perry Groves and Mickey Gray, plus a team of reporters keeping you up to date with everything that happens in the sporting world. Every Sunday, 1:30 till 6:30, the Sunday session, renamed Game Day Live for this upcoming campaign.
I've got to say, I've seen Villa play out from the backs on a few occasions, and I don't know about you, Gabby, but they make me nervous.
I can't handle this. I'm going to have to go inside. I quit. Honestly, Piercy, so risky.
Well, they've only got out of their own half in this first 45, Gabby. Forward by Byrne, chested down by Konza. And Guimaraes has put pressure on Onana. The ball launched into the air. It's headed forward by Elanga, and now Gordon's got it. And now Elanga's got it back right side of the box. He's crossed into the area. Again, he's into a sort of decent zone, but it's caught by Bizot, who's had a busy start to life as the Aston Villa goalkeeper.
See, if I'm the goalkeeper now, I put the ball in behind the back line and say to Watkins, go and take Byrne for a run.
Onana just twisting away from Guimaraes, but he's giving it straight to Tonali, and Tonali is charged forward here. He's got support on the right from Trippier. Again, Aston Villa so casual in possession, giving the ball away cheaply and gifting possession back to Newcastle United. It's happened far too often in the opening quarter of the game.
They look as though the longer this half goes on, the more Newcastle have rocked the confidence of Villa.
Just look like they can't get out. Everyone's giving the ball away, especially in midfield. They've got no out ball. Watkins, look where he is now. Too deep. Rodgers is playing inside too much, not keeping it swift. They've got a problem here, Aston Villa.
Bruno Guimaraes right side into Onana, back to Bruno Guimaraes once again, and then all the way back to Cher, and he will find Livramento on the other side of the pitch. Remember, Aston Villa haven't lost here in any match, in any competition since the night before Halloween 2024. If they were to stay unbeaten today, it would be their best home league run in the top division for 101 years. Here on the far side, the ball is picked up by Watkins. He didn't pick it up. He thought he was going to pick it up, and then for whatever reason it just eluded him, and Trippier picked it off. Ball sent wide towards the Newcastle left again. Cash is there. Then Joel Linton and Livramento, but a bit of space now for Kamara to operate in. For Aston Villa, who come forward rarely. Into Watkins, then back to Onana, across to Tielemans now. They just need him to get his foot on the ball because he hasn't really had much possession of the football in the opening 24 minutes. Goalless on Talksport. Onana has it, just in front of the centre circle. Back to Konza, and now they're just keeping possession inside Newcastle territory. Newcastle setting up with the back four, and then a team of 5 just 10 yards away from that. The distance is good. Their organisation looks well drilled, and their unity apparent as the ball goes out towards the left, and Digne miscontrols it. It's back with Newcastle United.
I think you make a really good point there, to be fair. It was a really dogged 4-5-1, wasn't it? They dropped off, out of possession. You can see probably all the work that Eddie's done on the training pitch. This is where we want you. If you're a wide player, make up a 5.
Derby 1, Coventry 1 in the Championship. Pompey 0, Norwich 2. Wrexham 0, West Bromwich Albion 1 is the latest score over on Talksport 2. You're listening to Aston Villa 0, Newcastle 0 on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever it is, they're here for it. I wonder if they're here for that ball that's just hit the roof and come back down and knocked out someone in the press box away to our left-hand side.
Yeah, the last thing Nick Pope wanted was that ball back to him, to be quite honest with you. Trippier and Tonali done him no favours whatsoever.
Well, Newcastle excellent in transition last year, and this is where they were at sometimes their most dangerous, when defending a long ball into the box. A long throw from Digne from the left-hand side, headed away by Byrne. Tielemans sends it back down the left, and it's with Digne once again. Then back to Tielemans. Tielemans being held off by Trippier, but he manages across to the far post, headed away by Tonali. and it's out to the far side. The sun just trying to peer through the clouds. There was an offside flag up against Watkins, and it's going to be a throw-in to Newcastle, and Villa just haven't found their rhythm and exasperated Gabby Agbonlahor.
I think we'll see a lot of this over this first weekend, match day one. A lot of rustiness from players, you know, players getting used to the Premier League starting again, but everything Aston Villa is trying in the first 25 minutes isn't coming off. Sloppy touches, easy passes that are going astray. Even Lucas Digne receives an easy pass, it goes out for a throw into Newcastle. A lot to improve on for Aston Villa.
Remember, Aston Villa beat Newcastle 4-1 in April here, but haven't won consecutive Premier League games against the Magpies for 11 years. Here is Byrne, up towards halfway. Oh, it's a misfield by Joel Linton, given away. Again, very quickly, a turnover of possession as McGinn is robbed, and now Gordon is sent forward down the left-hand side. He races to the edge of the box, cuts down on his right foot, fires a shot into the body of Tyrone Mings, and it goes out to the far side, and he's retrieved it once again. He's in the left-wing position now, Anthony Gordon. Back it goes to Livramento, now to Bruno Guimaraes, and now further out to the right-hand side where Cher stumbles and then plays it forward into Joel Linton. Round the corner it goes, and there's loads of space for Trippier. He can pick his cross out. He does that to the far post. It's headed away, only as far as Livramento. Doesn't shoot. Tonali was there too. Didn't get on the ball. Cher will shoot from distance, and it's over the top of the crossbar. And the reason he'll shoot from distance and be happy to do so, because he's got a very good record against Aston Villa. He scored twice here in January 2024, and he scored the only goal in defeat here in April.
What I can say, Piercy and Sam, is that Newcastle, even when Aston Villa got everyone behind the ball, are finding a way through. Aston Villa can't find a way through this rigid Newcastle formation. So you need Tielemans to do more in that number 10 role, to receive the ball in tight spaces.
I think Villa's biggest problem, as you alluded to earlier, was they're giving possession away, aren't they? That's when you get your breather and get some confidence in your play and string some passes together. After one or two passes, that ball's given back to Newcastle.
28 gone. It's Aston Villa 0, Newcastle United 0 on Talksport. And here is Trippier on the halfway line. And he's pulled the ball out to the right perfectly for Elanga, who's just miscontrolled it. He sort of kicked it with one foot against the other, and it's bounced out for a throw-in down in the left fullback position as Villa look at it. But if Newcastle had been more clinical, they would have been in front in this game. They've had the opportunities as we approach the half-hour mark.
I've got to say, as a member of the Left-Backs Guild, the last thing you need on the first day of the season is Elanga and you sign him with his towel up. It really is.
You're not wrong, Piercy. You're definitely looking behind you, aren't you, for Tyrone Mings to cover at all times?
You certainly are.
The difference is that when you were playing, which was only a couple of years ago, Stuart, is that you would have probably crunched him by now.
That would have happened maybe about 30 minutes ago, and the game's only 28 minutes old.
0-0. There was a little foul on this near touchline, but it didn't come off, and it's now picked up over on the left-hand side for Livramento. Moves up with Newcastle to the edge of the area. Joel Linton, Tonali, bit of space. Now Bruno Guimaraes looks for the return. Tonali didn't get there. Anana did, but they've won the ball, and illegally, according to Craig Pawson, because the Villa fans feel as if a few decisions have gone against them. But I'm not entirely sure that was really. It was just two players going for the ball. And Anana, knowing that he had a little bit of contact from the side, went down, stumbled to the floor, and it's going to be a free kick.
I think from a refereeing point of view, and I think this fella's one of the best we got in the Premier League, I think players are so cute these days. I think there should be a school of thought that says, look, every time a player falls on the turf, it isn't a free kick, you know.
Well, they are raising the threshold for contact as Watkins goes in behind. The ball doesn't bounce kindly for him. It bounced about 5 yards outside the box, but it skipped up off the turf, and that allowed Nick Pope to reach above his head and pick it up and bowl it out to the left-hand side, where once again Newcastle are experiencing a bit of joy. And Joel Linton plays it to Barnes and gets the return, and Joel Linton continues down the left-hand side, played it against Matty Cash. It goes out, well, for a goal kick, despite Joel Linton's protest. Craig Pawson over on that far touchline, very close to the action. Was pretty clear that that was going to be an Aston Villa ball, but not much has gone their way in the opening half an hour. But what has gone their way is the fact that it's still Aston Villa 0, Newcastle 0, Gabby O'Connor.
Yes, I think we talked a lot about the midfield battle today, and I think Newcastle are winning at the moment. You look at Jolinton then, gets the better of Kamara, unlucky to not win a corner there. Aston Villa have to wake up, and especially in the midfield three.
Remember, we're going round the grounds with Adrian at 2:30, so if you're out and about today, take the Talksport app with you. You can listen to all of the programming. There's lots of podcasts on there as well, but the live football is the big thing today, and you can take that with you wherever you go. If you've got the Talksport app, what a ball by Morgan Rogers from the base of the centre circle, out to the left and finding Watkins, who gets into the air, goes on the outside of Byrne, commits the tackle, pulls it back to the edge of the 6-yard box. There's no one there, and Fabian Schär will manage to clear.
Well, you get the impression this is going to be one of those games. Newcastle dominating the early exchanges, and then Villa go and counter-attack and score. But Watkins, once he's pulled it to the left, he's just got to unload that with violence, I think, Gab.
100% PSC, but that's more like it, isn't it, from Aston Villa?
Thrown into the box away by Rogers, controlled by Tielemans on the near side. He's 3 or 4 yards in from the left touchline, gets it back to halfway. Kamara has it now, and there is a wind whipping around Villa Park. Ollie Watkins has such a good record against Newcastle United. You would have backed him to bury that. He only scored 4 though in his final 19 club appearances of 24-25, but he has scored in all 4 of his Premier League home games against Newcastle. Here is Anana turning it back to Mings. Mings under pressure from Elanga on halfway immediately, and Unai Emery is absolutely furious. He's not at all happy with the pass selection. He won't be happy with that pass selection from Digne either. He's given that to Tonali.
But this is why, Sam, that sometimes Pau Torres will play, because Pau Torres there would have opened his body up and passed that straight to Lucas Digne. And I think Pearcey saw Unai Emery's reaction. He was fuming.
What he's looking for, there's a bank of 4 and a bank of 5 with Newcastle. What he's saying is they're 2 straight lines across the pitch. You've got to be good enough to slide one through with a bit of pace through the lines to somebody to receive to get half turned. As soon as you do that, Newcastle, that's their vulnerability at centre half, those little slide balls along the side of the centre halves.
Ball loose on halfway. Schär won the initial header, and then it came back to Trippier, and then he plays a long ball down the left-hand side. Barnes to chase it, but Bizot read that and was excellent at the way he just judged the distance. And he's had to get used to being the Aston Villa goalkeeper very quickly, as Marco Bizot, who was a teammate of Leon Bailey at Genk back in the day. He's 6'5", he's a well-built goalkeeper. He's had to be today. Here's Elanga, back into Tonali. Tonali trying to turn it into the former Forest man, who goes scurrying down the right-hand side for Newcastle United. Onto his left foot, a low ball into the box, steered away by Mings. Comes back out of the area, and it's won by Watkins, who holds it up well and now tries to lead an Aston Villa charge. Rogers near touchline. Under pressure immediately from Newcastle shirts. He rushes the pass forward as a result of that pressure. And Nick Pope grabs it and bowls it out to the far side.
Gabby mentioned during his commentary there about that rustiness early pre-season, and it's manifesting itself in that final pass, isn't it?
Joel Linton into the box, his cross is blocked and it goes into the air. It's headed further clear by Kamara, and then McGinn looks to try and lead them out, but they just can't get out of the wilderness at the moment, Gabby.
Oh, it's what Pearcey just says. It's that rustiness, and every player is guilty. Simple passes that normally you'd expect Aston Villa players to play with ease. Every pass is going to an opposition.
Elanga tries to take on Digne, and Digne was a little bit late there. Might be guilty of a cynical challenge. A free kick has been given 10 yards in from the right touchline, and it is going to be a free kick for Newcastle United as they approach the edge of the penalty area. Their set pieces weren't as prolific as Aston Villa's last season, that's for sure, but they did come up with 1 or 2 good ones. 12 last season from set pieces scored, and they turned the Carabao Cup final with a couple of really good set pieces as well. That Dan Burn header will live long in the memory. 10 minutes before half-time, 0-0 the score. In front of the Holt end away to our right, which is dappled with new Aston Villa jerseys and some white ones as well. Kieran Trippier standing over this free kick. He's 12 yards back from the edge of the area, wide on the right-hand side. He's got Dan Burn to aim at here. It goes towards the back post. Joel Linton is underneath it, but didn't rise quick enough, and it goes straight out of play and out for a goal kick away to our right.
Yeah, he's put a little bit of curl on that, as you would as a full-back, whipping the ball in there, and the goalkeeper, he thought, oh, I'll come and get this, and all of a sudden the curl on the ball takes it away from him, and there's a nervous moment. He was pleased to see it sail out of play, I think.
You know what I feel what Villa are missing is the number 10 Tielemans making a run deeper, making a run past Watkins, past Rodgers, stretching Tonali. Everyone wants it to feet at the moment, and no one's making them runs in behind.
Well, Ollie Watkins certainly cool towards the end of last season, but 14 of Watkins' last 15 Premier League goals have either put Aston Villa in the lead or drawn them level. When he scores goals, they're usually key to Villa's success. Hasn't had much joy so far, but Trippier's mistake has just allowed the ball to travel into the right full-back position. Kamara chased it, waited because he felt as if the ball was going to go out of play. Then Trippier whipped round the back at him and snuck it out for a throw-in. So it is going to be a Villa ball deep inside Newcastle territory, and Luca Digne is going to take it. He's got Mings trotting up into the penalty area now. So is Ezra Konsa looking to attack this, and there haven't been too many attacks from Aston Villa in the opening 37 minutes. Launched high by Digne, and it's straight into the arms of Nick Pope.
I think they're missing a trick here, Villa. Tielemans is offering his services just to the right-hand side of the thrower, and you should really pop the ball into him and deliver it with your feet. I think Dan Burns waiting for it, Pope's waiting for it, Joe Linton's waiting for it, and you've got your work cut out.
Elanga halfway, Trippier back to Bruno Guimaraes, the captain, so important for Newcastle United last season. Bruno Guimaraes, he's played in 113 of Newcastle's last 115 games. Here's Elanga making his debut, striding forward and trying to get into the box. He's taken off him by Morgan Rodgers, who did well to go back and cover in the left wing position. Kamara's got it now, engages with Bruno Guimaraes, draws the foul and just takes the pace out of the game. But yeah, Newcastle United so far in the match have been far and away the better team. They've had more of the possession, they've had more of the chances, and they'll be a little bit disappointed, I think, Stuart, that they're not in front.
Yeah, they will be, and the one setting them alight for me at the moment's Elanga. He's full of energy, full of drive. Once again, he's dipped past Digne, he's put him on the back foot time and time again, and just lacking the real quality maybe when he's got into that final third area on a cross that's landed on a green shirt for Newcastle.
59.4% possession so far for Newcastle United. The shots that they've had are 8. The shots on target 2. Aston Villa, no shots on target so far in the game. And I know that Gabby's a big man for XG, but the XG is Aston Villa 0, Newcastle 1.16. So they're very much on top in the opening exchanges of this game. Talksport, live at Villa Park. The ball goes forward towards Morgan Rodgers. Again, easy for Cher to pick the ball up and take it forward. Bruno Guimaraes gets it back to Nick Pope. He launches it high into the air. It swirls down on halfway. Mings wins the header, as you would expect, in front of Anthony Gordon. But then Onana makes a bit of a mistake, and Tonali almost escaped with the ball. The ball is then sent back to Ollie Watkins, who might have been in an offside position. Eventually the referee sees the linesman has flagged on the far side. It's going to be a free kick to Newcastle United. This is Talksport. It's Saturday afternoon. It means that we bring you live football from the Premier League at 12:30 and from the Championship as well. Over on Talksport 2, it's Wrexham 0, West Brom 1. The current betting odds here, where it's Aston Villa 0, Newcastle 0. From Betfair, available, the official betting partner of Talksport's Premier League coverage. Right now you can get Aston Villa to win the game at 2-1. The draw is 15-8, or you can back Newcastle at 6-4. That's all thanks to Betfair, playing a different league this season with safe sub from Betfair. 18+, gambleaware.org.
But once again, a final ball share there. Digne stepped up, played inside and stepped up, and he's left an ocean of space behind him for Elanga to run into. but the ball was just overhit again. We've seen a lot of that. Maybe it is the early season blues on the passing.
Commentary have taken the lead away at Derby by 2-1 as Tielemans goes searching down the right-hand side. Big Dan Burn comes across with those muscular, long limbs, and he sweeps the ball out of play for a throw-in over on the far side. Aston Villa's ball. 5 minutes before the break. A disappointing start to the season so far for Aston Villa, but they'll be pleased that it's still goalless. It's tossed back into the path of Konza. Konza forward now, and he finds Kamara. Kamara to Mings, who's on the centre circle. He swirls it to the right, taken down perfectly by Cash, whose cross is a deep one, but it's straight into the arms of Pope. Bit of a waste, and Newcastle have it back again. Gabby Agbonlahor is sitting next to me like a grumpy teenager who's had their iPhone taken off them.
I'm sulking. Listen, it's the first game of the season. You don't want to go too hard on the team, but if I'm the substitutes to the left-hand side of us, I'm doing an intense warm-up because I'm sure you'll see changes, maybe even at half-time.
You weren't ever a sub, were you?
Every 1 in 2 games.
Former Aston Villa's Premier League record goal scorer for quite some time.
Former.
Gabby Agbonlahor is here with us today, and Stuart Pearce as well, as we bring you live coverage from the Premier League. Here is Gordon, good touch, turns it infield, gives it to Bruno Guimaraes. Lovely tackle by Kamara, though, robs possession for Aston Villa, and he turns and runs at the Newcastle defence. Down the inside left channel, it's picked up by Watkins. Back out to Rodgers. Rodgers now looking for an outlet. Onana runs into a bit of space, but the ball wasn't great. It was a bit behind him, and he ended up guiding it back towards the halfway line rather than progressing forward. And Aston Villa just have to check and repurpose their attack. And again, Newcastle flex into that very rigid shape when they don't have the ball of 4-5-1. And that makes it difficult for Aston Villa to try and pierce them and open them up. It's with Kamara lifting it now towards the near touchline. Digne back in field it goes again. Now it's with Kamara clipping it over the top. Rodgers makes the run, then tries to keep it in by lolloping it up into the air. It's going to be easy for Nick Pope. He's massive, Nick Pope. And he wins the ball ahead of Tielemans, and he will clear away. Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, once again, Kamara had the opportunity there. Rodgers made a good run in behind, but the ball was probably slightly overhit again, so he's stretching to get it right on the byline. What he needed, something to sort of get on so he could actually slide one across the face of goal, having taken 2 or 3 touches.
Wrexham have pulled one back over on Talksport 2. It's Wrexham 1, West Bromwich Albion 1. A lot of space over on the left for Barnes, who takes it out of the sky well, then feeds it into Livramento. His cross is blocked by Cash, and it goes spiralling out for another Newcastle United corner.
Yeah, the best result at half-time for Villa is a clean sheet at the moment. If they can achieve that, I think Unai Emery will be pleased to get them in the dressing room all square.
Well, they haven't had Alexander Isak in the team, but they look a team, Newcastle. I think you can say that about them. And they might have lacked the focal point, and if Isak had been up leading the line, he might have taken the chances that Elanga and Gordon had spurned. Here's Tonali in towards the near post. It's flicked away by the Villa defence, picked up by Cher and nudged back to Trippier. And Newcastle look to try and recycle the ball once again and get it back into the danger zone. Cher lifts it towards the far post. It's headed away by Cash. It was a good header by Cash as well. And he's found John McGinn, and he now tries to power forward into Kamara halfway. Excellent recovery work by Anthony Gordon, the Newcastle United number 10, who came charging back to take it off his toes and get Newcastle back in possession. Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, I always felt as though this game will be a real indicator to see what fortunes both of these teams are going to throw up this year, and it's certainly at this moment looking like Newcastle might stage a better attempt on the Premier League than Villa.
5th and 6th in the Premier League last season. Newcastle getting into the Champions League by virtue of Aston Villa slipping up away at Manchester United on the final day of the season. They've slipped up more than once or twice in the opening encounters here, and they just look a little bit casual. And again, another pass not quite crisp enough, another pass not right on the distance, and as Joel Linton commits a tackle on Onana in midfield and becomes the first player to be booked, you have to say that Aston Villa look undercooked.
Yeah, they certainly do. They've looked off the pace, Villa, and the longer the half's gone on, the more Newcastle have shaken their confidence and the more Villa have looked a little bit wayward with their passing.
I think as well, Piercy, every player seems to just be making the wrong pass. The touch isn't how it should be, and I think Unai Emery at half-time, he's got a lot of decisions to make, because if I'm Marlon, I want to be on that pitch after watching that.
Well, Newcastle have lost 5 of their last 6 away games at Aston Villa, but they are more than holding their own here, despite the absence of Alexander Isak. They've had 3 great chances to take the lead in the opening 45 minutes. Their biggest disappointment is that it's goalless at the break. Maybe that's down to Marco Bizot, who's made some good saves in the Aston Villa goal, but Aston Villa have looked short of confidence and looked a little bit rusty at the break. It's Aston Villa 0, Newcastle United 0.
Sam, thank you very much. Gabby and Stuart are here still alongside me. Gabby, the grumpy teenager, still feeling grumpy because, what do you want to see from Aston Villa in the second half?
I think I love John McGinn, but I feel that I want to see John McGinn in the centre, and maybe you sacrifice Onana and then you bring on Marlon. I just feel we need to attack with another quick forward, because Rodgers seems to be coming into the number 8 position too much, not staying out wide, and Watkins looks very lonely up there. Even Gesson, could you get him on to give Watkins a hand?
It's interesting because Villa are the side that have had the decent pre-season. They're the ones who've been able to, hold on to their players largely. And you thought Newcastle would come here with a little bit of fear. Maybe they don't have a great record here, and Villa have such a strong record at home. But Newcastle, without Isak, look quite together and quite galvanised, don't they?
Yeah, they do. They're playing extremely well. The longer the half's gone on, the more confident they've been. They've dominated the first half without scoring. And Elanga looks, as I thought when he arrived at Newcastle, a very good signing. He's certainly in this first 45 minutes proving to be a very good outlet. The only blot on his copybook was the fact when he did go through one-on-one, you should be scoring.
Yeah, he should have scored that one. But, what is Forest's loss is certainly Newcastle's gain. He is one of the most exciting young players in the Premier League at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah, I think so. And I think he could go on to prove that he's going to be one of the acquisitions of the season, and I think at the valuation, was he 40 million, I think, something of that nature. In the modern day game, that's not a bad valuation.
We did talk about opening day lineups being a little bit cagey. Sometimes the games are a bit sort of stiff because no one wants to sort of lurch forward. That hasn't been the story for Aston Villa.
No, it has.
For Newcastle, but it has been the story for Aston Villa.
Yeah, and the formation today hasn't worked, but I just look at Aston Villa's performance, and apart from the goalkeeper, I feel that everyone's been off it. The slow build-up play from the back hasn't worked, sloppy on the ball, the final pass has not been good enough, and nothing springs to my mind from that first half as a positive, only that it's 0-0. And if you're the substitutes, Marlon, who had a great pre-season, Buendia, who had a great pre-season, even Ian Martson at left-back, I'm sure you'll see them change in the second half, and maybe Aston Villa start to give the game to Newcastle a bit more.
They're going to have to break them down in midfield, aren't they?
Yeah, they certainly are. And at this moment in time, I think Newcastle in every position are slightly better than Villa. The damning thing for Villa is they can't keep possession of the ball when they do turn it over, and when they've got into advanced areas, the passes have been slightly overhit or just off or just behind players, and that kills you, really does, when you hand the ball back to the opposition cheaply.
Yeah, Gabby, surprisingly sloppy actually in every single aspect that Stuart's mentioned. What is behind that then? Is it just a bit of a lack of preparation? Is it nerves? Is it just rustiness? What can it be? Because Newcastle aren't doing that.
I think it is rustiness. I mean, we saw last night Liverpool at times, it wasn't working for them at times, Bournemouth as well. You're going to get this a lot from match day one across the weekend. Players that have played well in pre-season, but like we said, the Premier League is different. Once you come out there and you're playing against top class players, sometimes players need a couple of games to get up to match speed of the Premier League. But I wouldn't go too hard on Aston Villa. I just think sometimes you get games like this on the opening day where every player is giving the ball away too easily.
Yeah. Okay, bit of work to do then for Aston Villa going into this second half. Newcastle, a very low, will be unfortunate for it to be 0-0 from their point of view, but from Aston Villa, they'll definitely be looking to, change something going into that second half, which is coming up after this.
Game day exclusive on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever it is, we're here for it.
Football is back and it's game on. Get the ultimate football coverage with the Sun's free pull-out goals. With the best writers pitchside for in-depth match reports, it's all about goals! And with unrivaled news from the Premier League to League Two, it has to be goals! Stay up to date on all the latest football action. Get your free copy of Goals every Saturday, Sunday and Monday, only in The Sun.
Incredible scenes here at the Village Hotel's Pub and Grill. Fans are taking their place in the fan zone with stadium-style seating, amazing views on huge screens, and we're underway. Lovely bit of dribbling there as she tackles the burger stack. Now they're getting down the wings. Sticky barbecue. Unbelievable. Oh, and he's hit the bar. And it's there. His favourite ice-cold beer. What a result. Catch every game live in the Pub and Grill at Village. Get in. Find out more at villagehotels.com.
Screwfix Sprint delivers from store to door in as little as 20 minutes. You've finally found that perfect parking spot and you're ready to start work. But wait, you need a replacement part that's not in your van. Don't sweat it and don't move the van. Get moving on your job and we'll sprint over with exactly what you need before you can say, where's my spirit level? Screwfix Sprint delivers in as little as 20 minutes. Only $4.99 and only on the app. Conditions and geographical restrictions apply. Selected products.
Summer fashion announcement. Stripes are in, darling. Oh, and also florals. Groundbreaking, we know. Pastels and block colors, too. Basically, you choose. From breathable floral duvet sets to modular wardrobes and stripy block-out blinds, IKEA has hundreds of new summer products to let summer in. Fabulous. Visit IKEA online or in store. IKEA, the wonderful everyday.
The road stretches before you, but there's trouble ahead. Stationary cars. You're faced with the McDonald's side mission. Do you, A, join the ever-growing queue, or B, take the next exit and treat yourself to a glorious Mackey's?
Detouring to McDonald's.
Start your side mission today.
He's having a blinder. He's clipped the post. He's looking formidable. Then...
substitution.
His game might be over, but yours isn't. With Betfair's Safe Sub, your bet simply rolls onto the player coming on. Playing a different league with Betfair.
Valid on selected leagues and markets only. Applies to singles, multiples and bet builder bets on qualified player outcome selections. Does not apply to odds boost. T's and C's and exclusions apply. 18+. Gambleaware.org.
We all fantasize about our perfect home. Watching the big game cozied up in the snug. Balmy summer nights with the kids playing on the lawn.
We're playing real-life football!
But come on, this isn't real. Listen, if you're serious about making your fantasy a reality, find out what your home is worth instantly with a free online valuation estimate. Get real about moving. Get on the market. Most common time to obtain an online quote between 1st of April 2024 and 30th of June 2024 was under 3 minutes. Excludes Northern Ireland.
Game day exclusive on Talksport with Sky Sports. Stream the biggest Premier League games flexibly with Now. Like Wolves vs Man City live today. Search Now Sports. 18+. Stream via internet. Terms apply.
Pleasure yourself with football. Game day on Talksport.
You are listening to Game Day Exclusive. We are live from Villa Park, where the sun is starting to poke through ever so slightly through those clouds. It is your first Premier League Saturday of the new season, and currently here at Villa Park it is Aston Villa 0, Newcastle United 0. Over on Talksport 2 it's Wrexham against West Brom, currently a goal apiece there in that championship game. Elsewhere in the second tier it's Portsmouth 0, Norwich 2 and Derby 2, Coventry 2, so a few goals flying in there in the championship. In League 1 it's Burton 0, Port Vale 0, Exeter 0, Mansfield 1, and in League 2 Chesterfield 1, Bristol Rovers 0, and Oldham 1, Swindon Town 2. Okay, it's time to get the latest from Betfair, the official betting partner of Talksport's Premier League coverage.
Game day on Talksport with Betfair. Get a free £10 bet when you bet £10 on football hackers or bet builders this week. Opt-in and previous deposit required. Minimum odds and T's and C's apply. 18+. Gambleaware.org.
We do this by being creative, trustworthy, and striving.
James Mackey joins us from Betfair. James, we talked a lot about this formidable record that Aston Villa have at home, but it's Newcastle who haven't got a great record of playing here. They're the ones who look the stronger side. What have you made of that first half, and how does that affect the betting?
Yeah, it's been a really bright first half by the away team Newcastle, hasn't it? With Villa not having much to shout about in the opening 45 minutes at all. Having been the 6-5 favourites pre-game, the home side are now the 2-1 outsiders to take all 3 points in the second half, with Newcastle flipping into favourites now 7-4 from their pre-game price of 13-8. The game is still yet to have a goal, and because of that, the goal price has contracted now into 13-8. So look, it's still all to play for the second half, but we want to see someone break the deadlock. I mentioned to you, Reshman, pre-game about where Newcastle's goal threat was going to come from. We know Alexander Isak, but it's been all about both the Antonys, hasn't it? Gordon and Elanga both been busy, both had big chances resulting in shots on target. So looking at Anthony Gordon's price at 7-2 to score any time in the second half, and Elanga is priced at 5-1 to score in the second half. For the home side, well, Morgan Rogers, he's been the bright spark to my eye in the first half, looking extremely sharp with the ball at his feet, and he's now as big as 6-1 to grab a goal in the second half. And Reshman, just for a go, the charity bet builder we placed pre-game, we need the game to stay the way it is in terms of result, with a draw being one of the legs in the bet builder. But we need Ollie Watkins to get himself on the score sheet and Ezri Konsa to pop up with a shot in the game. Look, it's all to play for in the second half, and fingers crossed we can get it across the line, because it would mean £829 and 82 pence going to the Bobby Moore Fund if the bet builder is successful.
Yeah, I hope that comes through. Sam with Matapace would absolutely love that, because that was his bet. Fingers crossed for that. Thank you very much, James Mackey from Betfair. That odds update is all thanks to Betfair. Returns accurate as of 10 minutes ago. For verification, see betfair.com. Over 18s only. Conditions apply. Go to begambleaware.org.
Odds update on Talksport with Betfair. Play in a different league this season with Safe Sub from Betfair. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Now, after us at 2:30, Adrian Durham will be taking you around the grounds with all the goals as they go in the Premier League and EFL. I'll tell you what, Adrian's at the Stadium of Light for us, I should say, for Sunderland against West Ham. But before we talk about that, Adrian, how busy have you been over this summer? Have you had a break?
I had a month in Switzerland. Yeah, it was great. Yeah, absolutely loved it. Yeah.
I said, have you had a break?
Watching the Lionesses win the Euros, that'll do for me. What a perfect summer.
Do you know what? What an absolutely brilliant summer. You sounded excellent all summer. Really enjoyed the coverage, as we always do. And you're back for, well, we've had the Championship started previously, but of course the Premier League is back today. How impressed have you been with the start of the season so far? Yesterday was quite a game.
Yeah, I was at Anfield last night, and I'm just about recovering it. I mean, it literally had everything, and not all of it was good, as we know, but what a game of football. When you just boil it down, it looked like, do you know what really pleased me? The fact that Bournemouth, even though they were 2 down, didn't say, well, let's put 10 men behind the ball, keep it at 2-0 and not get embarrassed. We don't want a 5 or a 6. They actually went for it, and, you know, they had some chances. They got it back to 2-2, but in the end, Liverpool just had too much. Sensational game of football. I hope that sets the tone for the Premier League this season, because it really was 10 out of 10 in terms of entertainment.
Yeah, absolutely right. From the first whistle to the last, it was absolutely brilliant to watch, wasn't it? Of course, very emotional for everyone involved at Liverpool Football Club, but everyone watching as well, right up until the end when Mo Salah stayed for that rendition of Diogo Jota's song as well. Really fantastic stuff. I can imagine it was sort of kind of hair sticking up on end actually there. But today, yeah, I can imagine. I really can. You're at the Stadium of Light today. What a day for Newcastle, back in the big time. I suppose the only downside for them is that every time they've played West Ham in the league in their last 8 games, they've not won.
Yeah, they can't think about that, though. Sunderland I think they've got a really good chance. They've made a lot of signings and some really good ones as well. Granit Xhaka's the new captain, so he's leader on and off the field. Yeah. First 3 games are crucial because they're against, you know, potential relegation candidates. So they're all 6-pointers. West Ham here today at the Stadium of Light. Away to Burnley next week, home to Brentford the week after. So if Sunderland get no points from those 3, then everybody's going to be all doom and gloom. If they get a healthy amount of points, 6, 7, maybe even 9 from those 3 games, this place will be absolutely buzzing. But what I know is that it's sold out today, and it's going to be electric, the atmosphere in here, and it's whether West Ham can cope with that.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those I need to tick off, actually. I've never been to the Stadium of Light.
What?
I know, would you believe, in all these years. What about West Ham, though? Because, you know, they really dropped off against with Graham Potter. You thought, well, they hoped, didn't they, that, you know, with the Lopetegui kind of disaster, if you like, that Graham Potter would be able to kick them into shape. It really didn't happen towards the end of last season. What can West Ham fans look forward to in this game?
Well, he's had a pre-season and a window and all of that sort of stuff, so now is when you can really judge him. But I don't know, I saw them pre-season actually when I was in Switzerland. They came over to play Grasshoppers in a friendly. Jared Bowen was brilliant, the rest were okay. Yeah. But let's see how they go in the real season. By the way, the man next to me is absolutely fuming that you've never been to the stadium of like Mickey Gray. You got anything to say to Reshman Chowdhury?
Too far north.
It's it has been, actually. I mean, but don't worry, I'll correct it this season. I'm actually really looking forward to going there because I obviously kept in touch with Sunderland over the years. He's raging. I'll be there with you,
Calm down, Mickey. Calm down.
Down, boy. I'll be there with you soon. Don't you worry. I'm sure it'll fall for us on a 12:30 on a Saturday. What about the 3 o'clock games? You've got Burnley travelling to Spurs, and Spurs, they faced a very different challenge against PSG, a side that was, albeit rusty, but they really held their own. They really looked a lot more cohesive than they have done before. But of course, the challenge for Burnley is going to be very different. And do you know what, actually, Adrian, hold that thought for your because they're about to kick off here. I'll speak to you later. We're going to hear from you from 2:30. The second half's about to kick off. Stuart Pearce, Gabby Agbonlahor, but first Sam Matterface.
And we'll keep you in touch with everything that happens in those 12:30 kickoffs in the Championship, League 1 and League 2. As the game comes to an end here, we'll get team news from the 3 o'clocks as well. We're underway at the start of the second half with Aston Villa in claret shirts with light blue sleeves attacking the goal away to our right. The whole 10, the sunshine has come out for the start of the second half, and there is a bit of blue sky peering through those fluffy white clouds now. The slate grey ones have just gone away, and all of a sudden it looks a little bit more of a palatable environment here. It's not as cold. Here is Tielemans just right of the centre circle, playing it out wide to the right, and Cash's low ball into the area. It's spooned away by Byrne, and the first act of the second half is a corner for Aston Villa, and they will hope that they set a better tone in this second half than they did in the first. Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, they certainly will. It was a slow build-up once again, but it was punctuated with a ball through the lines and then a turn, and all of a sudden it was a game changer. It got Villa on the front foot.
Corner kick to be taken. I'll run through the 2-11s for you in just a second, but it is 0-0 here on Talksport, live at Villa Park this lunchtime. The corner to be taken by Luca Digne of Aston Villa. There are 3 bunched at the far post for Aston Villa, maybe 4. It's gone short instead to Cash, and then McGinn changes the angle, hits it right-footed into the box, header straight down the throat of the goalkeeper by Kamara, and it's saved by Nick Pope and cleared away by Newcastle United. The first big chance that they've had, it came from McGinn's cross into the box. He picked out Kamara brilliantly, and his header steered straight into the gloves of Nick Pope.
Well, Nick Pope's a big barrier, no doubt about that, but anything either side of him, and I don't think he's got a lot of reaction time there.
Sorry, I'm just having to go to the referee there. Never a foul by John McGinn. But that's a better start to the second half, isn't it, for Aston Villa? They had to start better than the first half, and they have.
They've got Bizot in goal, who was the busier of the 2 goalkeepers in the first half. Cash, Konsa, Mings and Digne. Then Kamara, Onana and Tielemans in midfield, with Rodgers on the left, McGinn on the right, and Watkins through the centre. And Newcastle United have Pope in goal, Trippier, Cher, Byrne and Livramento. The defence rather underemployed in the first 45 minutes, really. Tonali, Bruno Guimaraes and Joe Linton, who's been booked in midfield. Ilanga had a really good chance in the opening 15 minutes of the game. Gordon, who steered a header over the top, and Barnes are the 3 attackers for Newcastle United. It is 0-0. And Bizot has the ball on the edge of his own penalty area, and he lollops it forward high into the sky, but it's back from Tonali. Gordon was in an offside position, so if he chases it, the flag is going to go up. It has gone back to the goalkeeper, and Bizot will clear again left-footed. Again, it will go to a Newcastle body. Won by Bruno Guimaraes, then Trippier, then Cher. Cher looks up. Didn't see an option because there's no physical presence at the top of the Newcastle formation. I was talking to a couple of Newcastle journalists, and everyone was of the same opinion, really. If they had a centre forward, they might already be in the clear in the game here today. But in the absence of Alexander Isak, it's Gordon leading the line, and so far it's goalless. Here is Mings going out into the left full-back position and just allowing that ball to run out of play. and it goes out for a goal kick away to our left. It's the second time in the last 3 seasons that Aston Villa and Newcastle have met in the opening league match of the season. The Magpies won 5-1 at St James's Park in 2023-24. But Newcastle's problems have been when they've come to Villa Park. They've lost 5 of their last 6 Premier League trips to Aston Villa. The exception being a 3-1 victory 18 months ago. Aston Villa have the ball with McGinn, who plays himself out of trouble after they beat the press and get it out to the left-hand side. Digne now feeds Watkins. Byrne comes across, nudges it out of play. It's away for a throw-in down by the corner flag. Still 0-0. Here's Gabby Bonlahor.
That's better though from Konsa, playing from the back there. That ball's into McGinn all the time. There's one player that can hold the ball up. He uses the backside into the defender so often. He's John McGinn.
Throwing over on the far side, but there is a little bit of an issue here for Dan Byrne. He's gone down. He's getting back to his off his haunches now after colliding with Ollie Watkins, who just, I think, ended up treading on his foot, Stuart Pearce.
Yeah, he did. It'd take a lot to get Dan Byrne off a football pitch, I think.
Throwing over on the far side then to be taken by Luca Digne. He's almost by the corner flags. He tossed it into the near post. It's flicked on and almost scooted through to Tielemans. It's cleared away by Barnes and then picked up by Cash on halfway. He tries to turn, does turn, then fires it back towards the right. Again, it's overhit by Matt Cash, and that's not the first time that that's happened today. A couple of just balls that are out of range. Maybe that is a sign of the early start of the season, Stuart.
Well, it's been too commonplace, hasn't it, in this game so far? A pass that's not found its man. As I say, it's double figures and more, to be quite honest with you, which is quite unusual for players of this standard.
Oh, good reverse pass by McGinn. Livramento robs Tielemans as he was threatening to get away, and it's cleared away. But Aston Villa much brighter at the start of the second half than they were at the beginning of the first. And we played 6 minutes at the start of the second half, and it's Talksport on this Saturday afternoon. There's some big games coming up over the course of the next few weeks, and we're at Leeds against Everton on Monday night with Aaron Lennon and Troy Deeney. The Monday Night Football continues, and over on Talksport 2 at the moment we've got West Brom in action away at Wrexham. It's 1-1 there. Pompey still 2-0 down to Norwich. Derby 1, Coventry 2. McGinn harassing Livramento, almost took the ball off him. It's cleared away by Byrne. It's out for a throw-in deep inside Newcastle territory, out to our right-hand side.
Great play there by McGinn. He's pegged Livramento into the corner flag area, and he just outthought him basically, and then outfought him.
Long throw incoming from Matt Cash. Hasn't been able to get his distances right with his feet. What about with his hands? Well, it's gone short into Kamara. Back to Cash once again. Kamara with a low ball into McGinn. McGinn tries to turn under pressure. Gordon nabs it away. Back with Cash again, right side. In towards Tielemans, who's being chased by Gordon, and goes all the way back to his goalkeeper. So from an attacking throw-in on the right-hand side, Villa have gone all the way back to their goalkeeper, then launched it over the head of Rodgers. It's backed by Byrne from the edge of his box. Header by Kamara is one. Guimaraes is coming, but Onana read it well. It bounced in his favour, and he spread the play to the left, and Digne. Digne's first time cross takes a deflection, goes out for an Aston Villa corner.
Yeah, it's Newcastle's turn to suffer a little bit. They've been put on the back foot start of this second half, and it's Villa pushing at the moment. They need to give their fans a little something to cheer about as well.
Graham Jones just having a word with the fourth official, Simon Hooper, on the near touchline. Austin McPhee, who is the set-piece coach, comes out to the edge of the box to try and organise some routine. And remember, Aston Villa scored a lot of goals from set pieces last season. Kamara's taken it short. It's given to Tielemans in towards the near post, and it's gone all the way through the 6-yard box and bounced towards the far stick. No one attacked it, and it went past the stranded Nick Pope and out for a goal kick, and he breathes in a huge sigh of relief. A short corner taken to Tielemans. He hit it right-footed. It was arcing actually into the centre of the 6-yard box. Everyone just left it.
No one moves though. If you look at the replay we've got in front of us, none of the Villa attackers or defenders in the box make a movement into that 6-yard box. They've got a tap in.
What an opportunity. What an opportunity. Ali McCoyce would have snaffled that one up, that is for sure. He's back on breakfast on Monday with Jeff Stelling, 6 a.m. Make sure you're with Talksport Breakfast on Monday morning for that. And we've got loads of live sports still to come today, by the way. Adrian taking you around the grounds. Blackburn Birmingham is on Talksport 2 at 3. 5:30 tonight, Jason Cundy and Jamie O'Hara bringing you the game day phone in. And Super League action at the same time over on Talksport 2. 9 o'clock tonight, the big heavyweight clash between Moses Atalma and Dillian White live on Talksport. Ball loose in midfield. Villa want a free kick they're not going to get. Livramento has it inside his own half, and he sends it cross-field from left back to right back, and Trippier over his head into the air looking for Elanga, who nudges Luca Digne. Elanga keeps it in well, plays it centrally. Gordon into Bruno Guimaraes. It was a tight gap for him to try and thread that through. He didn't reach it, and Watkins has run it back, and now it's with Tielemans onto McGinn inside the Newcastle half. He charges at the Newcastle defence, gets to the edge of the area, looks to try and bundle his way through, can't do so, and Joel Linton then tries to bring it out on this near side. There was a foul by Rodgers and the referee doesn't think so. Stuart Pearce is shaking his head, and Gabriel Bonlahor's getting furious. What do you think, Stuart?
Well, I think every time someone hits the ground, there's a free kick to be given, you know, and it's I think it frustrates the life out of the crowd, as you've just heard. And they're so marginal, a lot of these, Sam.
Piercy, but I think the frustration from the crowd is Rodgers has had quite a few fouls that haven't been given, but then a little one there that Rodgers gets the ball, the ref gives it. Come on!
Derby 2, Coventry 2. Frank Lampard going back to his old club. Sees that Derby have brought it back level. That's in the Championship. In League 1, 0-0 Burton Port Vale, who are down to 10 men. Exeter 0, Mansfield 1. In League 2, Chesterfield 1, Bristol Rovers down to 10 men, 0. Oldham 1, Swindon 2. Ball long through the middle of the pitch towards Gordon, away by Konza. It runs loose in midfield for Bruno Guimaraes, who helps it out to Trippier. He's midway inside Villa territory, just by the touchline, struggling to keep it in, can't find Elanga, and it's cleared away by Villa. It's got a little bit scrappier in this second half than maybe it was in the first. We played 10 minutes of the second 45. Aston Villa 0, Newcastle 0 on Talksport with Sky Sports. And don't forget that with Now, you can stream all the Sky Sports action flexibly, like Wolves versus Manchester City live today. Search Now Sports. Ball out of play, halfway line. Aston Villa in possession of the football, sending it long into Rodgers, who tries to help it into the path of Watkins, who races away in the left channel, crossed into the box away by Livramento, and it's out over on the far side, picked up by Elanga, and Newcastle United managed to get it clear, but it comes back by Gordon straight to Rodgers, edge of the area. Now Tielemans didn't see that Joel Linton was coming, and the ball bounced off Dan Bird, and he gallops forward now up towards the halfway line. Might be a chance for him to break. Oh, Barnes had made a really good run, wasn't spotted. Now there's space on the other side. Trippier gets it from Guimaraes onto Elanga. He scurries forward into the wing position, gets to the edge of the box, throws himself to the floor. Referee says play on. Foul by Kamara, by Trippier. That's going to be a free kick which stops the play from developing. And there was an opportunity there for Newcastle United to make a little bit more of that counter-attack, Stuart.
Yeah, it certainly was. Elanga, they ended up switching from left to right. Elanga galloping forward when he flicked the ball past Digne on that occasion. I think Digne got some of the ball, it's fair to say, and some of the player.
Well, Aston Villa unbeaten here in 18 Premier League games at Villa Park. They've won 11 of those. They're always going to be very difficult to break down. They've won the last 5. It's some run. They haven't experienced anything like this in the league at home since 1977. That's a late challenge by Kamara, and that's going to yield a yellow card because he's taken down Elanga. He's the first Villa player to go in the referee's notebook. And it's going to generate a free kick as well, 15 yards from the edge of the box. Just wonder whether, as we get towards the hour mark, changes might be in the offing for both teams.
It's looking more and more like the impact's going to have to come from the bench to break the deadlock rather than what's on the pitch at the moment.
I'm looking at Marlon. I really am, Piercy. He's been in frightening form pre-season. And what's funny is when you're always on the bench, you're always looking now as the subs, you're looking at the manager. Is he going to put his finger up at you to come on?
Free kick for Newcastle United. It's dead centre this. It's not an easy one, is it? Because you have to decide whether you're going to go left or to right. It looks as if it's sort of telegraphed to go to the left-hand side. It's Trippier waiting and then sending it short into Bruno Guimaraes, who whips it round the back post. Cher is there, and I think he hit it against Dan Burn. Both of them colliding. They took each other out at the far post, and Cher hit it against his teammate and then slid into him.
Yeah, it was a well-worked free kick to start with, certainly. They've worked the angle. Bruno's ended up peeling round, whipped the ball into the box, and both players basically had a 50-50 with each other, didn't they?
It was a proper challenge, wasn't it? Dan Burn tackling Fabian Cher at the far post as they both attack the set piece. We're hitting the hour mark. This is Talksport. It's still goalless. And it's going to be important for one of these two teams to take a victory in these circumstances. I mean, if you were to walk away with 3 points from this game, it'd be a massive boost as to what is going to come in the next couple of weeks. Dan Burns just won what was not quite a 50-50 with Matt Cash, but he's won the goal kick after a really fierce challenge. And Villa fans unhappy about it. And Villa fans upset with the all that goal kick. Jacob Murphy just bouncing up on his feet away to our right-hand side. And we'll go off to the Amex Stadium because our 3 o'clock kickoffs in the Premier League have released their team news, and Brighton have spent a little bit of money this summer. How many of their new signings start today against Fulham? Ian Abrahams.
1. Maxime de Kuyper starts, but there's also a start for Carlos Baleba, who's been wanted by anybody and everybody. Fulham's starting 11 made up entirely of players who played or on the bench for the last game of last season.
A long ball forward by Nick Pope, who goes all the way through to Bizot. He'll clear away. Mings is judged to have been fouled by Anthony Gordon. It's a free kick to Aston Villa.
I'm not sure where Villa go after this, but the importance of maybe maximising points today. I think Newcastle have got Liverpool at home, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right, Monday week?
Yes, correct. I think Villa Brentford away.
That may well be live on Talksport, Stuart Pearce, that Newcastle game, which we're very much looking forward to. Brentford for Aston Villa is the next fixture. Let's go off to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And after late drama on Wednesday night, a first home game for Thomas Frank. Who's he picked, Alex Crook?
Well, he makes 3 changes from that Super Cup defeat. Gray, Bergvall and Johnson are the players who come in. Paulinho among those dropping to the bench. As for Burnley, they hand debuts to Dubravka, Walker and Hartman. It's Tottenham against Burnley.
We'll keep you up to date with that and every other goal that goes in on the fastest goal service on the dial. Adrian Durham's Game Day Live from 2:30 this afternoon. We do the same thing tomorrow from 1:30 on Talksport. And Monday Night Football is Leeds against Everton on the network. Here is Onana, who is about 15 yards inside opposition territory, wide on the left. He's strutting forward and then his chest pushed out. He gives it to Konza. Konza finds Cash. There might be a winner here at the end of the game for one of these two, and it might just be that it's a solitary goal that nabs it. Mings out to the far side. Now it's into the path of Luca Digne. After that Brentford game, Crystal Palace here, Everton away and Sunderland away are the next destinations for Aston Villa. Ezri Konza trying to turn under pressure, gives it to Tyrone Mings, and then Bizot picks it up on the edge of his own penalty area. And there's a little bit of pressure here, and Konza's almost lost it. And Joe Linton did really well on the press, and he was sandwiched with Gordon. And I mentioned that Sunderland is a destination that, although Reshmin Chowdhury hasn't bothered going to, Aston Villa are definitely going to go there in the next couple of weeks. Mickey Gray's always there, and he's got team news from their first game back in the Premier League against West Ham United.
44 of last season, Sunderland starting 11
survive this 11 that Sunderland have named. And Granit Xhaka will wear the captain's armband for Sunderland. Trey Hume, Dan Ballard, Sealt and Mienda, the only 4 remaining players from Sunderland last season. West Ham, it's Malik Diouf is the only new signing for West Ham. As for that, it's the starting 11 from last season. Fulcrook and Jared Bowen up front with Callum Wilson, ex-Newcastle, on the bench for West Ham. It's Sunderland against West Ham.
Back here it's still 0-0 between Aston Villa and Newcastle. Poor ball forward by Barnes, which could have released Gordon down the left-hand side. Was blocked by Cher, actually, who got involved in front of his teammate, and it ricochets towards his left-hand side. It's starting to resemble a game which you would expect on the opening day of the season, where around this time both teams are starting to tire a little bit, Gabby, upon the Hawk.
Yeah, I think you have to use your bench. I mean, look at Murphy. He's probably doing the hardest warm-up out of the Newcastle players, but Aston Villa have got loads of options.
Here's Rodgers coming forward into Watkins inside the box. Left-footed shot, his first shot of the game. He's straight down the throat of Nick Pope. Well, he hasn't had too many opportunities. This time he did get it out of his feet. Got it into his left foot on the edge of the box and drove the ball forward, but straight into the arms of Nick Pope. And that goes down as a missed opportunity, I think.
Aston Villa are starting to find little passes, though. That one was Onana into Tielemans, Tielemans Rodgers, Rodgers to Watkins to get the shot off. Better from Aston Villa.
Who come forward again. Rodgers out to the wide right position looking for McGinn. McGinn takes it down. Given to Cash. Cash takes over. Right wing position. Crosses into the box. Oh, and it's picked off by Elanga. And now they run forward at real pace. And they fed the ball through. And it's taken down Gordon. And Konsa's going to be sent off. He's denied a goal-scoring opportunity. The ball was thrust through by Elanga into the path of Gordon. Gordon went racing clear. Konsa brought him down. The referee has got no chance, but he has to send him off for a denial of a goal-scoring opportunity. Villa are down to 10 men.
Yeah, it's probably one of the most clear cuts sending it off I've ever seen, and Konsa's arguing his case. I don't know what he's saying to the referee, apart from the only thing he can say is, I think you've got that one right, Governor. But the bottom line is, all Villa's good work in this second half seems to be undone now by that through ball. Good movement by Gordon in behind, and Konsa's marching.
You can't get away with that, PSC. I mean, we're right in front of it here. It's the most blatant red card you'll ever see. You can't pull someone back when they're through 1v1. Great touch from Elanga and ball in behind, and Gordon just outpaced Konsa.
Yeah. In all honesty, if you're defending from that distance, I would rely on a potential recovery challenge or your goalkeeper. I think he's too far out to turn around and say it's a clear-cut goal that I'm stopping here.
Well, the judgment from Craig Pawson was that it was the denial of a goal-scoring opportunity, hence the red card, and it was a good run by Gordon, and it was even better through ball from Anthony Elanga, which set him fair towards the edge of the penalty area. And Konsa has just decided, take no chance, I'm going to pull him down. But he must have known what was going to happen next. There was only ever going to be one outcome after that, and that means that the last 24 minutes of this game have to be played with 10 players if you're Aston Villa. And now, certainly after having the better of the first half and maybe not the better of the second, Newcastle will feel that they're in a prime position to go on and win the game.
Well, it's a great opportunity for them. They've had a brilliant 45 minutes, Newcastle, but failed to hit the back of the net. Now they've got 25 minutes plus to go, where they've got to get on the front foot, and they've got to look at this game now as a potential 3 points. Anything less will be disappointed, but it won't be as easy as you think.
Well, Trippier is stepping back from the dead ball. There is a three-man wall in front of the Villa wall. It's played into Tonali and then back to Cher. He tapped it back off to the edge of the D, and Cher then tried to curl it in at the near post, but he curled it to the roof of the north stand away to our left-hand side. Again, it was one of those which was clearly a worked routine, but it did not come off, Gabriel Bonahol.
No, Aston Villa very disappointed at Konsa sending off, but if Newcastle are going to continue to take free kicks like that, then Aston Villa will be happy. But what do you need when you've got 10 men? You need speed across the pitch. Wouldn't surprise me now if Digne comes off for Maatsen, very quick left back, and Marlon at some point has to come on.
And I think Frank Lampard was a little bit disappointed with the recruitment in the summer. Maybe need a new few new bodies in there at Coventry City. Derby have taken the lead now against Coventry 3-2 in the Championship. Portsmouth still trailing 2-0 to Norwich, and Wrexham 1, West Brom 1 is live over on Talksport 2. It's currently Aston Villa 0, Newcastle 0, but Aston Villa down to 10 players. The latest odds from Betfair in just a second, because Elanga is breaching down that right-hand side, looking to try and cause problems for the Villa defence. Infield it goes to Bruno Guimaraes. It's collected by Tonali, and then out towards the left, and Barnes forward into Livramento on the overlap, looks to try and get the cross in, just waits, hesitates, gives it back to Joel Linton, into Tonali, tries to play it round the corner, and Aston Villa are going to have to be very dogged and disciplined now to get out of this game with something. McGinn back to his centre-half, and Kamara is going to be the emergency centre-half from now on. I think he's going to have to slip in alongside Mings, away by Digne, up to halfway line. Watkins going to have to do a lot of chasing. He does that and then tries to escape on the halfway line. He was pulled back by Cher. Referee says play on. Watkins has got hold of it, turns it towards the far side, the right. McGinn coming forward now. Good work by Watkins. It's applauded by the Villa support, and then they're a little bit upset about a slash of a challenge from Gordon, which is not blown up by the referee because Aston Villa still have the ball. Digne into the centre, looking for Rodgers, comes all the way through to McGinn, inside the area, looking to get the better of Livramento, snaffles him up brilliantly, does superbly. Livramento was so good in the under-21s in the summer. And Newcastle United come away with possession. 0-0, 70th minute. The latest odds from Betfair, the official betting partner of TalkSport's Premier League coverage, where right now you can get Aston Villa to win at 5-1. The draw is even money. You can back Newcastle to win at 8-1 on. The ball over on the far side. That's all thanks to Betfair. Here's Bruno Guimaraes onto Gordon, inside the area, trying to tickle his way through. Gets it back to Tonali, out towards the left. Livramento, everybody behind the ball for Aston Villa here as Barnes swirls the ball to the far post, headed behind by Digne. It's out for a corner to Newcastle United.
Villa look as though they're quite happy with Kamara at the heart of defence there, Gab, so it don't look as though they're going to make a change, and to be fair, it's not affected them a great deal. I think they've kept a sort of 4-2-3 scenario, and they've just got to weather the storm now.
Yeah, when Aston Villa have been out of centre halves, Kamara's played there quite a lot, and also he's a lot quicker than Torres as well, which will help on the counter-attack.
Here is the corner, taken by Trippier, floating it in towards Burn. It drops on the edge of the box. It's going to be Cher who picks up the pieces here. Newcastle coming forward, Gordon into the area from distance, away by McGinn. It wasn't a great ball forward. Gordon's got it again. He's got time to run and then shoot, and he cannons that into the head of Matt Cash. Gets back to his feet, Matt Cash, and Newcastle get back with the ball. They're coming towards the edge of the area. It's too close to Bizot and caught by him, and he takes it out of the sky. Well, at 3 o'clock this afternoon, we've got live commentary on TalkSport 2 of a big game from the Championship. I was actually at Birmingham St Andrews the other night to witness Ian Danter's favourite football team. He's watching them today. They're away at Ewood Park. What's the team news, Dance?
Blackburn have to make 3 changes. No Lewis Travis in the matchday squad, with the midfielder seemingly wanting a move to Derby County. Tavares, Cantwell and Carbo brought in by Valerian Ismail. 3 changes from last week's defeat at West Brom. Birmingham unchanged from the 1-1 draw they got against Ipswich on the opening day of the league campaign. Live on TalkSport 2 from 2:30, it's Blackburn Rovers against Birmingham City.
Yeah, you can listen to that on TalkSport 2 pretty easily. Just download our app. You can flick between the 2 stations and you can get the commentary from Birmingham, from Blackburn on the Birmingham game, or you can listen to Adrian Durham take you all the way around the ground throughout the course of the afternoon. A choice of listening on TalkSport. And over on Virgin Radio today, starting his new show, Charlie Baker. In fact, he starts in about a minute's time. Game on Virgin Radio with Charlie Baker. Here is Joel Linton onto Tonali, out to the right where it's collected by Trippier. Trippier feeds Elanga, who moves up to the angle of the box, goes on the outside of Digne, produces a good cross. It's in towards Gordon, comes to Barnes, who shoots. It hits the defender and goes behind, and it's out for a corner kick. And Barnes' effort is deflected behind.
I'll tell you what, it's Matty Cash again. He's been unbelievable. The stop from Gordon slightly earlier with his head. would have knocked someone's head off. He's managed to get up from it and then still holding his chest from the previous one. He's got a brilliant block on.
Corner kick on this near side. Tonali to take it. They're loading the back post here with Cher and Byrne again. Newcastle United in front of the North Stand. It's Tonali in towards the centre, away by Onana. Comes back out to Livramento. Livramento recycles the ball. It's not a great delivery. Actually, a better ball would have been to go down the left-hand side towards Tonali. Instead, he's lolloped it out to the far side, and it's dribbled behind and away for a goal kick. Talksport, Aston Villa 0, Newcastle United 0 on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Here for it? Book now at enterprise.co.uk. 10-man Bristol Rovers have pulled one back against Chesterfield in League 2. It's 1-1 in that match now. Remember, Derby leading Coventry in the Championship by 3 goals to 2. Mansfield 1-0 up against Exeter in League 1. Still 1-1 Wrexham West Brom in the Championship. And here it's goalless, but Newcastle have the man advantage. Ball in the centre circle with Bruno Guimaraes. 15 to go on Talksport. No sign of changes. Collected by Trippier, races forward, far side into Aston Villa territory. He motors right up deep into their half of the field and then gives it back to Bruno Guimaraes, and they look to try and squeeze Aston Villa in their own half of the field. Elanga back into Bruno Guimaraes. No one engaged him initially, and he has time to push it out to Byrne. Livramento, Barnes near side, Gordon waiting in the centre. Barnes tries to move in towards the box. He goes on the outside of Cash. Cash is sticking with him well. Then he turns and twists and sends the ball back post. Elanga coming in underneath it, but he sends it high into the sky. And the volley, and it goes out for a goal kick away to our left. What's going to happen in the final 15 minutes, Stuart Pearce?
Well, Newcastle are going to have the ascendancy, that is for sure. But it's surprising me that Newcastle haven't made changes at all. I think Villa are weathering the storm at the moment, it's fair to say, but that's more to the fact that Newcastle haven't made a clear-cut opportunity.
Well, the stresses and strains of the life of a Premier League manager are always apparent, and this game is a sort of microcosm of that. Eddie Howe said yesterday, you think it's a long summer, a long pre-season, but it goes in a flash. It's all-consuming, preparing the team and drilling the team for an upcoming challenge, and this game, where you think that you've done enough to win it, may well end up being a point or two that have been dropped if they don't get over the line. For Villa, certainly getting a point from these circumstances will feel like a massive plus, but they weren't at their best with 11 here on the right-hand side. Elanga moving up to the edge of the area, feeds it into Barnes. Barnes trying to get the shot away, blocked by Onana, and it's out over on the far side. I know that Unai Emery yesterday was suggesting that with the budget that they've got, they shouldn't be anywhere near the top 7, but the Aston Villa fans have been used to competing in that area of the league, and they'll want to be up there again this season. Here is Tonali on this near side, the left, shuffles it to Byrne. Byrne further on, collected now by Cher. Cher out to Elanga. They're on the right side now, attacking the Aston Villa penalty area. It's deep towards the far post, but it's a poor execution, Gabriel Bongahoff.
Yes, Elanga, he's got a lot of attributes, but cutting on his left foot and putting a crossing, he's not one of them. It looks like Jacob Murphy's about to come on, so maybe you'll see Barnes or Elanga come off. But I'm surprised that the young striker, Asulo, is not coming on, because they could do with that presence in the box.
Well, I think Jacob Murphy probably, out of everyone, is the one player who probably thinks to himself, how on earth have I ended up on the bench here, by the way? You know, only Mo Salah managed more open play assists in the Premier League last season than him. He is coming on, and it is debutant Anthony Elanga who is coming off. Well, will Murphy make a difference? A lot of his assists last season did come to Alexander Isak. You just wonder what he'll be like without him. He assisted him 7 times last season, the most assists to one single player in the Premier League last campaign. He comes on for his 400th club career appearance. He'll be determined to prove a point, I think, Stuart.
Yeah, he certainly will. I, like you, was a little bit surprised that he wasn't in the starting lineup, but well, certainly Elanga was very, very good in the first half. He's not had the same impact in the second half, and Newcastle needed to do something to freshen things up.
Well, it is a heart-racing and heart-breaking competition, the Premier League. It's full on. And even some of the managers that were interviewed in the build-up to the weekend were suggesting that it already feels like they need a little bit of a break. First break, I suppose, comes in the international window in September. But there's a lot of points to be won by then. Who's going to get the points here? Watkins felt he was fouled by Trippier. Referee said he wasn't. Barnes has picked it up, sent Gordon away. Across comes Cash, good defending by him. And there was a foul by Gordon, allegedly, which gives Villa the free kick just short of the centre circle, but it was good defending from Cash.
Yeah, it certainly was. It looked like another through ball in behind the back line of Aston Villa. Very similar to the one that got Consa sent off, but Cash read it extremely well.
Strange to say, but it doesn't really feel like Aston Villa have a man down. Newcastle haven't made the extra man count at all.
You know what I think's helped there, Gab? I think just dropping Kamara from 10 yards in advance back into the back line. It's as though you've not had to draw from the bench and bring a centre-half on and take an attack-minded player off. They've dealt with that very well.
Yes. Murphy over on the far side, wrestling for possession. He is brought down eventually by Tielemans, and the free kick is given in Newcastle's favour. Interestingly, you just wonder whether or not the fact that Murphy's come on now might just be the sign that Eddie Howe's a little frustrated that Newcastle haven't made the most of that extra man, as you two have been saying. Here is Barnes moving forward now, slipping it square onto Trippier, out to the wide right position. Murphy gives it to Bruno Guimaraes, back into Trippier. Joe Linton has joined the attack here. He has got that height and physical presence which they could use if they get the ball into the box. Or Tielemans getting the ball off Bruno Guimaraes, but the referee not judging that there was a foul there. Floated in by Cher, looking for Barnes. Livramento, Gordon is arriving, he doesn't quite get there. He just seemed to slow up at the last moment there, Gordon, didn't fully commit to it. It was running through the 6-yard box at a diagonal angle. It was a lovely ball from Cher to Livramento. His little half-volley pass into the centre was perfect, maybe just a little bit too heavy for Gordon, but he looked oh so close to be the favourite to try and get on the end of that. It just ran off the surface and away from him. That was a good chance.
Yeah, Livramento playing as an inverted left back, if you like. He's had to get his right foot on it rather than his left foot would have kept it in play.
Another good opportunity for Newcastle that they haven't taken. Are they going to rue these spurred opportunities and not take 3 points despite playing against 10 players? Here is Murphy trying to unlock this Aston Villa backline now. Into Trippier, back to Bruno Guimaraes. He looks up. Is he going to feed Gordon, who's come short? No, he goes left instead to Livramento. Now Barnes takes over. Barnes comes on the inside, on his right foot, looking to open up the pitch. Threads it through. Oh, he doesn't find a Newcastle shirt and gives it away. And now Watkins is teasing Byrne and trying to upset him, but Byrne's too wily for that. Good strength, good awareness, well played, Dan Byrne. Forward by Joel Linton, almost onto Gordon, and Gordon again didn't quite get hold of it. And it's through to Bizot. Aston Villa have got to hang on now for 9 more minutes to get over the line here and get a point.
Yeah, it'll be an interesting one for both managers to decode if it does finish 0-0. You know, there'll be disappointments from both teams, I think, thinking that points have slipped by.
Joel Linton. Oh, well, there's a foul on... Well, I don't think there was a foul on John McGinn, but he's gone down. The game has been stopped. It's not a head injury, it's a side injury, I think. And as a result, the players are taking the opportunity to take on some fluids with just a few minutes to go.
I think you can see now as well, Sam, Marlon's finally coming on. The fans around her applause there. He's getting his shirt on as well. Louis Smiley as well coming on for Newcastle. So 2 changes.
I think those changes are a little bit later than you would have anticipated.
Definitely for Marlon, because I know I've said it 10 times, but pre-season he's been a standout player, so sharp, and he didn't get the game time he would have wanted when he joined in January for Aston Villa. But now maybe he comes on for John McGinn and he adds that pace on the counter-attack for Aston Villa.
3 goals in 17 appearances after signing from Borussia Dortmund. So here are the changes then. And off comes Joel Linton and on goes Lewis Miley. Remember, Murphy has already come on for Elanga.
67, Lewis
and
Miley.
What about Aston Villa? Who's coming off for them as
McGinn. Yep.
Yeah, Marlon comes on. It is John McGinn who comes off.
I think as well what's frustrating for Marlon was 14 appearances last season in the Premier League, but only 2 starts, Sam. He's going to be looking at more starts definitely for Aston Villa this season.
What was really interesting is they bought Rashford and Asensio in on loan. Marlon came in on a permanent transfer, and yet the ones that they used were the other 2.
And also, what would have hit him hard was he wasn't registered for the Champions League.
Yes, that was an awkward conversation from what I remember. Unai Emery having to sort of discuss that. So it wasn't the easiest discussion he'd had to have after enticing him from Borussia Dortmund. By the way, you're not going to be in the Champions League squad because we've signed too many players in January.
I wouldn't want to give that convo to a player.
Here's Barnes back to Livramento. We've got 6 minutes to go, and these 2 teams that were locked so tightly in the Premier League at the end of last season, when Newcastle just about getting over the line, are tightly locked in the opening game of the new Premier League season. Is there going to be the deadlock broken late on? Here is Bruno Guimaraes into the edge of the area. Goes back to Cher. Cher, far side the right is Trippier. Trippier wants it, holds it, keeps it, gives it to Murphy. Murphy chased by Digne, back out of Trippier again. Miley shows for it, returns it to Trippier, lifted over the top for Murphy to chase away by Tielemans. Picked up by Trippier again on halfway, and they'll come again. Wow. After Coventry pulled it back level through Brandon Thomas Asante, they've gone on to take the lead. It's Derby 3, Coventry 4. And 2 quick goals for West Bromwich Albion against Wrexham on Talksport 2. It's Wrexham 1, West Brom 3. Here come Newcastle on the left-hand side. Livramento getting into the left wing position, finding Barnes now. Barnes into the box, looking up, lays it back. Oh, it's towards Bruno Guimaraes, but it was anticipated by Onana. So was that by Byrne, who's been excellent. Barnes picks it up again, right-footed, deflected, excellent defending again by Aston Villa. Actually have defended better since they've gone down to 10 players. Ball won by Byrne again, he's turned it over brilliantly, and he's fired it into Bruno Guimaraes. Barnes needs to stand this up. He gets to the byline, pulls it back. Here's Gordon, miscontrols it, allows Digne to come away with the ball and drag them up the pitch towards the halfway line. Wow.
Yes, at the moment, Sam, Newcastle look devoid of someone who's got a really clever pass to free someone up for a clear shooting opportunity. And you've got to give credit to Villa. They're getting players behind the ball. Even when there was semi-counter attack there, they managed to fill the box well.
Aston Villa 0, Newcastle United 0. Another Coventry City goal. Remember, Derby were leading 3-2 at one stage. It's Coventry who now lead by 5 goals to 3. And Exeter have got off the mark. 1-1 now against Mansfield in League One. It's all kicking off right at the very end of these big 12:30 games here on Talksport and Talksport 2. West Brom leading 3-1 against Wrexham right now. Here is Tonali, heading it forward into Gordon. Goes back to Miley, on to Bruno Guimaraes. Oh, and he's kicked it back in the sort of vicinity of Ollie Watkins, and Pope has come to tidy up. And Newcastle have it on the halfway line. They've given it away. Marlon trying to get hold of it now. Shrugged off the ball by Bruno Guimaraes. He turns, looks up. Can he thread it through to Gordon? Well, he tried to, but Kamara stood in his way. And now Watkins has got it on the turnover. He runs up to the edge of the area. Out to Marlon. What impact can he have? Goes on the outside. Shoots low. Saved down to his right by Nick Pope. And Newcastle United bring the ball clear. 3 minutes of normal time to play. Both teams want a winner, Gabriel Bonlahor.
Yes, and Gordon's probably going to be the one that has got a chance here, coming on the left-hand side.
Trying to drive down the left into the area, trying to take on Cash. He's weaving one way then the other. He's got good balance, pulls it back for Harvey Barnes. And he leans back and shanks that ball so wildly it fizzes through the air and into the black and white striped Newcastle fans over on the far side. Stuart Pearce just looked at me then and went, oof.
That has been symptomatic of probably today's football, with the passing not on the money, the finishing maybe, certainly in that case, way off the mark.
Just expect better, don't you, Piercy, there? just try and hit the target. How many times do you say? Made the keeper make a save.
Yeah, it's wrong technique, really. He looks as though he's trying to put his laces through it and just cut across the ball. You've really it's got to be from where he's cut in. We're right behind it. Inside of the foot, curling into the far post.
I thought it was fascinating this week, actually, you know, listening to Aaron Ramsdale, who was talking about Newcastle. He said he felt, and the squad felt a little bit as if they'd already been written off, really, because of the transfer saga involving Isaac. But he said, you know, this Newcastle team, these characters, they thrive when their backs are against the wall. Well, it's Aston Villa who've had their backs against the wall for the last 20 minutes or so, and now they're having to try and repel another Newcastle attack. Barnes has fallen over inside the box. And then he's committed a foul. It's going to be a free kick to Villa in the right full-back position. He probably should get a yellow card for that. The referee is not going to give one. But because of the saga with Isaac, this guy has moved up the pecking order. His name is Will Asula. He's about to come on. He's spent the summer scoring goals for the Denmark under-21s at the Euros. Still yet to start a Premier League game for Newcastle since his move from Sheffield United, but he's replacing Harvey Barnes for the final minute of the game and injury time. What can he come up with?
Yeah, I think if you're going to throw the dice, you're probably better off doing it slightly earlier than that. I really do. I may be proved wrong on that. Eddie knows a hell of a lot more than I do, but you know, by the time Konsa gets sent off at that stage, I don't think you're going to lose the game, put it that way.
Ball kick cleared by Bizot. Byrne with a header further away. Was there wrestling going on? The referee says there wasn't. Asula chases into the corner and the ball goes out of play and away for a throw-in. Anana complaining to Craig Pawson that he should have had a foul. League 2, Chesterfield 2, 10-man Bristol Rovers 1. Mansfield have gone back in front away at Exeter. They lead by 2-1. Coventry about to complete a victory over Derby by 5-3, having come back from 3-2 down. We've got 6 minutes added on at the end of the 90 in the first Saturday game of the season on Talksport from the Premier League. Ball thrown by Cash upfield, headed away by Byrne. Tielemans, he just fell over. The ball's loose in midfield. Miley tries to poke it forward, but Rogers sends Marlon away. He can't get there because Pope has come out too quickly. And now Bruno Guimaraes has picked it up. He's run up to the halfway line. It goes out wide to Gordon. Gordon now tries to cut infield. He goes past Cash. He gets into a congested area, but he keeps hold of the ball brilliantly. He's still going, and then he shoots from distance too far out. Doesn't really test Bizot enough. He drops to his left, makes a routine save, and that will be cleared away by Aston Villa.
Yeah, good set-up play there by Gordon, but you shouldn't be taking the shot on from there, sort of going sideways, not in full control of your body. It should have been a little pass off to one of your teammates.
Portsmouth missed the penalty, but they've just scored and got one back against Norwich. It's 2-1 to Norwich at Fratton Park. Adrian Segacic with his second goal in 3 games, a little Aussie, who's been brought in and started the season on fire, but Portsmouth 2-1 down at home, and they've had such a good record at Fratton Park over the course of the last few months. They've only lost 2 of the last 17 there before today. Here is Rogers down the outside. He gets into the penalty area and he just falls over the ball. In fact, he swallow dived over the ball. I'm not entirely sure what the reason for that was, but he ended up stumbling, I think, and then when he got past the defender, threw himself up in the air. 0-0, 92 played of the 96 that are going to be played here at Villa Park. And Aston Villa, who have been down to 10 men since Ezri Konsa was sent off midway through the second half, still might get a precious point. They might get more than that. Rogers picks it up, drives through the middle of the park, again falls over. The ball turns over and it goes straight into the path of Tonali. I don't know if the ball was running too slowly or something, but they keep falling over out there. Here's Bruno Guimaraes, edge of the area, trying to slip it through to Asula. Kamara, brilliant, read that perfectly, intervened, intercepted, then got fouled by a frustrated Guimaraes, and it's going to be a free kick on the edge of the box for Aston Villa, and the clock is going to be run down a little bit further. First of all, here's Stuart Pearce, then Gabby Bonlahor.
It's turned into almost a comedy of errors, isn't it, at the moment? Players tripping over the ball and God knows what else. But I can't see anyone breaking the deadlock at the moment.
I think as well, Morgan Rogers, I think every time he's tried driving with the ball, he seems to be falling over it a lot. Happened just before that incident in the penalty box where he trips over the ball. I'm sure he's going to be one of the most frustrated players after the game, Morgan Rogers, because nothing's fell for him today.
What a season he had last season. 29 goal involvements, injections of speed and strength and skill all over the place, and certainly he has looked lively at times without really producing any of those moments. Aston Villa is an attacking force that looks a little bit blunt today. Here is Murphy over on the far side. Trippier takes it towards halfway, tries to release Will Asula, who's gone speeding down the right side. He's got some time to get on the ball here, Asula. He moves into the penalty area, plays it to Miley, gets it back again, Asula, then shoots a deflection, sends it off Mings and into the air. It's chased by Gordon, but it goes out for a corner in the 94th minute of the match.
I've got to say, Asula's offered some energy since he's come on. He's chasing things down and looks as though he wants to have a real impact in this game, as you'd expect a young man should.
Well, Asula is inside the penalty area on the penalty spot. Dan Burn is at the back post. Cher is there as well. They've got to get the delivery right. Gordon's going to take it. Right-footed, right under the goalkeeper. Oh, it's fisted away by Bizot. Almost came through to Burn, but Tielemans reacted quickest and cleared away for a grateful Aston Villa. It was a dangerous ball into the box by Gordon, which the goalkeeper didn't judge quite right. He did enough in the end. And he was a little bit concerned for a moment, as were most of this Villa crowd. They're hoping for a point on the opening day of the season. They would have come here wanting all three. They usually get them at home against Newcastle. But Ezri Konsa sending off changed the complexion of the game after what was a great first half by Newcastle. A much better start to the second half by Aston Villa, but there's only looked like one winner since the sending off. There's a collision between Watkins and Cher. The referee's pulled it back for the foul on Watkins. Watkins has gone down clutching his face. I think he got a finger in the eye, maybe.
Finally, the referee has given Aston Villa a foul. Finally, Piercy.
I'm pleased to see that you've been neutral today.
He's got a set of claret and blue eyes. There's no doubt about it. The fella alongside me. I take you back to the Elanga miss early on, yes. And we said at the time that this could be costly, and it certainly has turned out that way.
The Gordon header as well.
Yes.
Two great chances in that first half. They didn't convert. They've had a couple in the second half as well that haven't quite come off for them. And Villa have missed one good opportunity, which went straight into the throat of Nick Pope.
Let's be honest, lads, they have missed Isak, haven't they? Like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was always going to be the case.
Yes.
But they're going to have to get used to it, I think.
I wonder whether the Achilles heel for both of these teams this season's going to be the ability to score a goal. You know what I mean? Yep. Maybe.
Well, Fabian Cher just kicks the ball long. The referee blows the full-time whistle. Anthony Gordon collapses on the floor, having given everything. Newcastle had the best of the opportunities, but couldn't get over the line. And it's going to finish all square here. And usually there's loads of goals between these two. Usually the home team dominates, but not today. They may not have started with 3 points, but Villa do start the season as they ended the last, which is unbeatable at Villa Park, even when they are down to 10 players. As a result of that, they are now on their best home run in 101 years, and thanks to the fact that Bizot made so many saves in that first half, that record of unbeaten games here is stretched to 19 in the Premier League. It's pretty extraordinary. As were the circumstances in which Newcastle came into the game lacking a centre forward, that was exposed throughout the course of the afternoon. But they have come out with a point, and both teams will have to try and take the positives from it. Full time at Villa Park, Aston Villa 0, Newcastle United 0.
Dan, Sam, thank you very much. It's incredible, really, because last night we kicked off the new Premier League season with an absolute belter at Anfield. Today, not quite a classic, but interesting for so many reasons, and that it ended goalless makes it all the more exciting, actually, given how the rest of the season could pan out for these two sides. Newcastle definitely had the better of the chances, will be ruining all of those missed opportunities to take a lead here and take a victory back home to Newcastle. That didn't happen today. Aston Villa very much off the pace, so they may have been let off somewhat, particularly after going a man down as well. Newcastle players are going over to thank their away supporters. What a difficult summer they have had with all these drama surrounding Alexander Isak, so many signings not coming off, but the Newcastle fans always loud and proud, and they are there clapping their players, and the players are doing the same. As for Aston Villa, well, it's starting to empty out somewhat here, but the players are still applauding their fans as well, doing a little bit of a lap of the pitch. Got Stuart Pearce and Gabby Agbonlahor still alongside me. Gabby, did Villa get away with one here?
Yes, they did, but they did show a lot of fight, especially when Conser went off. He could have easily went the other way where Newcastle put pressure on, but Villa defended very, very well. And if you didn't know that Conser was sent off, you'd say it was 11 v 11.
Yeah.
So I think Aston Villa did get away one, a very poor performance. And if you look at the chances, especially from Alanga and Gordon, Aston Villa are lucky to get away 1 point today.
Yeah, absolutely. As you say, they defended incredibly. Those final kind of few moments without Conser on the pitch, really, really exciting to watch, actually, to see if anyone could draw first blood. It didn't happen in the end. Don't forget, we will get live reaction if we can get it, but definitely you'll hear from both Unai Emery and Eddie Howe. Sam is going to head down to the tunnel shortly to make sure that we get you those reactions as quickly as we can to these games. I'm sure both managers will have plenty to talk about. What about Eddie Howe? What is he going to be saying, Stuart Pearce? Because there were so many squandered chances. Surely Newcastle should have taken advantage, but given the circumstances with which they came into the game, did they almost get away with one as well?
If I'm Eddie now, I think to myself, we've gone on the road to one of our chief competitors this year. We've kept a clean sheet. We've got a point down there. I've brought Alanga to the club, and he's caught the eye a little bit, and he's going to be a really good addition to this football club. But what I do need to do is dip in the market and bring us in a striker if the other fella's going.
The other fella, whoever he might be, not like we've been talking about him all summer. Let's pick our man of the match now, shall we, with Enterprise Rent-A-Car?
The Here For It hero on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever it is, we're here for it.
Yeah, we are indeed. Gabby, who would you go for? I'm going to ask both of you. Oh, I just
there goes my phone. Never mind.
It doesn't have a case.
That's okay. I'm still Talksport invoice for a new phone. It's a very generous channel.
The whole glass is gone.
No, don't say that.
It's fine. It's been through worse.
Talksport on in short. Hopefully wrestling is.
Listen, it's hard to choose a man of the match, especially on Villa's side, but if there's one player that stood out for me today, defensively for Newcastle, was Dan Burn. I thought it was physical. I thought he kept Watkins quiet, Rodgers as well, whenever he come up against him, and he had a real top performance for me, Dan Burn.
Okay, and Stuart Pearce, who would you go for?
I thought the Villa goalkeeper Bizot played quite well today. You know, when you're coming in to cover for someone as good as Martinez as well, the pressure's on you a little bit. He dealt with the Alanga one-on-one scenario well, so anywhere between the two, and it looks as though either you or Sam's got the final vote on that one.
Oh, Sam, who would you... Can I just say a word for Matty Cash, who I think was battered all the way throughout? I thought he was a bit of a warrior today.
That's his job.
I know it's his job, but he got hit there and everywhere, like direct hits from the ball.
Well, we're not letting you make the...
Oh, you're so cool.
Pearcey went through 10 times that every game he played.
Have I got to make the call?
Yeah, go on. Seeing as you don't want me to do it, so you can.
Do you know what? I think Dan Burn probably had a major influence on the game. But I think because you're stepping in for your debut on a day like this and keeping a clean sheet when you're down to 10 men and you've made some good saves as well, Marco Bizot should get it.
Yeah, okay,
Fair.
I'll go with that too. Yeah, that's absolutely fair.
Goalkeepers Union.
Okay, goalkeepers. What? Sam, please.
I should have given it to the ref, really, shouldn't I?
That was our Here for a Hero man of the match from today's game with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. It went to the Aston Villa goalkeeper, Marco Bizot.
The Here for It hero on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Here for it. Book now at enterprise.com.